sick.
There is no terrible way to win. There is only winning.
We won't be out long.
Take your time. Track's all yours.
You ready? The name on the middle of that steering wheel should tell you that I was born ready. Hit it. Attaboy.
Let me drive. I won't make a fool out of you.
I got a message for all of them. Shake and bake.
What does that do? Does that blow your mind?
That just happened.
These cars, you sit in a box, a coffin, gasoline all around you. It is like being inside a bomb.
It's tough enough being a girl on the track. Living in my dad's shadow doesn't help much.
You have to be kind to the car. You feel the poor thing groaning underneath you.
No race was ever won in the first corner.
I'm gonna give you an engine low to the ground, extra big oil pan that'll cut the wind from underneath you. That'll give you 30 to 40 more horsepower.
Every one of us has to find a reason to do this. You do it because you're driven.
Brakes are warm. Tires are warm.
I'll work in the cars and I'll drive and I'll eat and sleep and I'll work in the cars and I'll drive.
Damn fast, and when you run so close together, it requires fantastic concentration and rather special skills.
I was beginning to think I'd never be anything more than a piston-happy lead-foot punk. Then this starts to happen.
If you're going to push a piece of machinery to the limit and expect it to hold together, you have to have some sense of where that limit is.
Besides, the best drivers don't dwell on the future or the past. The best drivers focus only on the present.
They could never have imagined it, those pioneers who invented the automobile, that it would possess us like this in our imaginations, our dreams.
I'm gonna give you a fuel line that will hold an extra gallon of gas. I'm gonna shave half an inch off you and shape you like a bullet.
Somebody put it in your mind you gotta be perfect every time out or you're a failure. Well, forget that. Just forget it.
Racing is in my blood.
I was put on this earth to race cars.
I accept every time I get in my car. There's 20% chance I could die, and I can live with it, but not 1% more.
No, Nicky, don't bring the percentages into this. Don't be a pro. The minute you do that, you kill what's good about this. You kill the sport.
And at that speed, your reactions can barely keep up with these sudden changes in direction.
You ready to put away your toys and grow up?
You want me to work the pit and you drive? Fine, we'll try that.
The car's a living, breathing thing, and she's alive.
If any of us imagined, really imagined, what it would be like to go into a tree at 150 miles an hour, we would probably never get into the cars at all. None of us.
Are you ready to become a real race car driver?
I am just as good as anybody out there on that track, and I don't need anybody to win my races for me.
I wish my daddy were alive to see this, to feel this.
And when we get you primed, painted, and weighed, you'll be ready to go out on that racetrack. You hear me? You're gonna be perfect.
You don't understand what happens, do you? They make 10,000 cars, they make them exactly the same way, and one or two of them turn out to be something special. Nobody knows why.
When I won it was probably the last time I ever felt pure victory.
So it has always seemed to me that to do something very dangerous requires a certain absence of imagination.
Because I'm quicker than all of you.
Soon you will know what it is like to be defeated by the hands of somebody who is truly better than you.
The only thing to do here is to drive just as fast as you know how and hope your car doesn't break.
And if you no longer go for a gap that exists, you're no longer a racing driver.
If you ain't first, you're last. There's 40 other vultures out there who managed to finish the race on their tires. You see Darrell Waltrip using up his tires?
There's nothing I can't do with a race car.
I mean, hell, isn't that what we're in this for? To stare death in the face and to cheat it? Come on, there's nobility in that. It's like being knights.
Sometimes you could swear the whole thing's falling to bits.
No pressure, nobody breathing down my back, just driving because I left it pure.
On the other hand, I suppose potential problems are in the back of your mind all the time.
So in many ways, I feel responsible for what happened. And
You were, but trust me, watching you win those races while I was fighting for my life, you were equally responsible for getting me back in the car.
You're so lucky. You sit there all closed in by machinery and bolts, precise things. There's hardly any room for you. It must be a nice, safe feeling.
You gotta learn to trust something. Might just as well be the seat of your pants.
A lot of people go through life doing things badly. Racing's important to men who do it well. When you're racing, it's life. Anything that happens before or after, it's just waiting.
Well, we can drive. We can drive beyond the limits of the tires, the engine, the car, anything else.
Look out there. Out there is the perfect lap. No mistakes. Every gear change, every corner. Perfect. You see it.
I just hope when you do, that I'm there to see it.
Ask any racer, any real racer. It don't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. Winning's winning.
But it isn't just business, is it?
what we do. It's passion, love, which is why we are prepared to risk our lives for it.
Racing. That's the name of the game, isn't it? Win or lose, put up or shut up.
Why does everybody keep telling me what my problem is?
That you get so emotional.
You would never, ever say that to a guy.
If you don't leave your feelings off the track, you're never going to get what you want.
I'm a race driver, and I can win it on my own. Please let me race.
Fine. Then let's race.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and once again, welcome back to the Grand Prix World Series. My name is Topher Smith, and today we're taking you to the Buenos Aires Grand Prix Round 2 of Season 4 of this championship, and we are looking forward to getting this one underway. It proved to be an exciting event last time out in Season 3. Will Season 4 provide the same amount of excitement and drama? We will wait to see. Heading into this one in the League 2 standings, Nick de Vries leads the way after taking a victory last time out in Jacarapagua. 25 points for the Andretti driver. That was the team's first Grand Prix victory on their first attempt. So a huge result for them to kick off their season. Alex Palou second in the standings on 20 points. Second place along with the points for pole and fastest lap last time out. Now Ryo Harakawa, he took a debut podium last time out for Carlin. 15 points for the Japanese driver there. Kimi Antonelli on his debut, fourth in a Scuderia Colonia ahead of Will Power in the Prema. Mike Conway sixth for Real ahead of Colton Herta, Ritomo Miata, Jess Hawkins and Bruno Senna all scoring points in the first race of the season. As far as the team standings are concerned, there was 10 teams in the top 10 last time out. So Andretti, Ram, Carlin, Coloni, Prema, Real, Dams, Dome, Surtees and Tolman all scoring points in the first race of the season, with LaRousse, Saxby and Forti Corti missing out, but still plenty of opportunities for them to score points across the course of the rest of the season. And looking ahead to today's race, we have just one driver change to make a note of, and that is at the Zaxby team. Zay Maloney did finish his debut race last time out in Jacarapagua, but not without a lot of drama and incidents along the way. And team principal Mike Smith, recognising the need to score points early on in the campaign to make the most of the upgrade windows, has decided to enlist the help of the experienced driver Robin Freins in a team to help push the team forward and get those all-important points before the first upgrade window. So we'll see how Freins does on his return to the Grand Prix World Series grids. He raced last season and missed out in the driver draft, but now he is back with Zaxby. Will this be a permanent swap? We'll wait to see how he gets on at the team. But how is today's grid looking for the League 2 Buenos Aires Grand Prix? Well, it is a first ever pole position for Matt Campbell, his second attempt at the Grand Prix World Series, and he's put it on pole position, but by the slenderest of margins to the Dome duo of Ritomo Miata and Nick Cassidy, less than a tenth between them. Alex Palou in the other Ram was on pole last time out in Jacarapagua, this time fourth on the grids to put both Rams in the top four. Zach O'Sullivan showed some good speed and 40-40 last time out, and he is now fifth on the grid today. Nick de Vries, our winner from Jacarapagua, sixth in the Andretti, ahead of Ryo Harakawa. Robin Freins on his return will be eighth in the Zaxby. Jake Dennis ninth in the second Andretti, and Colton Herta rounds out the top 10 in the Dams Honda. Callum Eilert will go from 11th today ahead of Matteo Caroli in the LaRousse. Luke Browning in the second 14th, 13th ahead of Pato Ward in the Dams. Will Power 15th in the Prema ahead of Jamie Chadwick. She showed some good speed last time out, but 16th on the grid today means she has some work to do. Jess Hawkins scored points in the first race of the season of Surtees. Might not do the same today from 17th, but we will see how her race progresses. Abby Pulling 18th ahead of Kushmaini, and Tomoki Najiri in the second Prema rounds out the top 20. Kimberly Antonelli fourth place in Jacarapagua, 21st on the grid today. Stoffel Van Dorn in the other Zaxby Really should have been setting the example for his new teammate Robin Freins, but he had a poor qualifying to be down in 22nd. Mike Conway, Sarah Moore, Dennis Hauger and Bruno Senna round out the grid. Senna, the only driver outside of a second of the pole time set by Matt Campbell. Very competitive grid once again, but how is this going to translate into the race? Well, we won't keep you waiting any longer. Tom Cairns is ready and waiting in the commentary box to take you through the first race of the day.
Here we are for the second round of the championship in the Grand Prix World Series. Ram are on pole again, but this time it's the rookie Matt Campbell on pole ahead of the dome of Ritomo Miata. The 5 red lights are coming on now when we go racing here in Buenos Aires. Lights on, lights off! Matt Campbell is away from pole very, very well ahead of Miata, looking at Nick Cassidy, who is tucking in behind his teammate, and Sacco Sullivan is in there in 4th position in the 40. And it looks to be very much clean so far. So Campbell leads, Miata 2nd, it's Cassidy, O'Sullivan 4th, then it's Nita Freeze in 5th, Alex Palou in the 2nd round is in 6th place, then it's Rio Hirakawa in 7th place, and there's a tap from one of the Surtees hitting the back of Mike Conway. I think that might be Sarah Moore that's just run into the back of him. But other than that, it seems to be a clean start for all the drivers as they make their way round the first section of the course. Huge contrast to last season when we had the incident involving Rafael Marcello that came out into the path of a number of drivers, but it's a very, very clean start for all the drivers in the field in this Lead 2 race. Now, Matt Campbell retired with mechanical problems in the opener in Hikara-Pagua, looks to make up for that here and keep Ram on track for a potential place in League 1 at the end of next season. It's early days, of course, but so much can change in a short space of time, and Ram will want to make sure they do well before the first upgrade window opens after the 3rd round of the championship at Indianapolis. Robin Freins on his return in the Zach Speed is in 6th place, the Dutchman in place of the departing Shane Maloney. And Freins is in front of Alex Palou, Jake Dennis is 8th, Rio Harakawa is down to 9th, and Luke Browning in the 40 is in 10th place. Both of the 40s inside the top 10 at the end of the first lap. Right on board with Mitomo Miata, who's under threat here from his teammate Nick Cassidy, and Cassidy is able to pull off a move on him, although that looks a bit too easy for him to get past there. Maybe some team orders in play. So Cassidy will go after Matt Campbell. Matt Campbell from Australia leading Nick Cassidy from New Zealand. Have a look at Miata, who's under threat here from the 40 of Sacco Sullivan. The Super Formula champion now racing in FIA Formula 2. He's fending off Sacco Sullivan, who's also in his rookie campaign in Formula 2 for ART. 40 had high hopes for Hikara-Pagua. Both of the cars were running very, very high, and they retired on the same lap in the closing stages. Dave Goddard hoping for better luck here in Argentina. We saw the heroics from Tatiana Calderon in the Lead 2 race on this track last season. Who's going to come away with the race victory this time around in Season 4. It was Tomoki Najiri locking up into the last proper corner of the circuit, and there's an engine failure for one of the Surtees, and it looks like Jess Hawkins has hit trouble in the early stages, and she is going to be out for the first time in her Grand Prix World Series career. That's a huge shame after the success in Hikara-Pagua. She bagged a couple of points for the team, and it's a repeat scenario for Jake Sanson. Sarah Moore dropped out on the 2nd lap in Hikara-Pagua. It's Jess Hawkins who retires on the 3rd lap here in Buenos Aires. Hawkins is the first retirement of the Lead 2 Buenos Aires Grand Prix, and she goes no further. Sarah Moore at the back in 25th place. Should be hoping to get to the end of this one. Now we look at what looks like Nick Cassidy in 2nd place, now half a second behind Matt Campbell, as we look at Rio Hirakawa, the young Japanese protege at McLaren, in the Carlin, into 9th position. He had a lock up into the left-hander after the chicane. Buenos Aires, hosting Formula 1 for a number of years, albeit it had some hiatuses in its time. The last time Formula 1 raced on this circuit was all the way back in 1998. And Campbell still leading the way on that 4 from Cassidy and Miata. So using one of these shorter configurations. Miata is in 3rd position, keeping O'Sullivan behind. I wonder if Miata may be on a heavier fuel load to what his teammate's doing, hence why his teammate got by so quickly. And we're looking at Cassidy further up ahead, who's having a look at Campbell going into the hairpin. Didn't look like he made it in the end, but he's right on Campbell's tail. I think Cassidy may be on a 2-stop strategy, you know. And if he is on a 2-stop strategy, then he needs to get by Campbell as soon as he can. Look at one of the LaRussas, that is Matteo Caroli, one of many rookies in the Grand Prix World Series this season. The highest of the rookies in this race is Matt Campbell, who's leading. Cassidy Miata, who also in there. Sacco Sullivan made his Grand Prix World Series debut on this track last season. He was racing in an AGS in place of the suspended Alex Palou. He's having a much better time of it here. 40. We're looking to pursue an immediate return to League One of their dismal campaign in Season 3. You can see a move there from Topher Van Dorn getting through on Matteo Caroli, and that's enough to put the Sac Speed up into 14th place. There is Kushmini in the Coloni. Coloni off the pace in qualifying to what we saw from them in Hikara Pagwood, but the field is very, very close. I think it's around about a second between the whole field on the grid. Very, very close. You can see that reliability is ticking in a little bit. We saw it in Hikara Pagwood where we only had half the field finishing. Reliability points did increase from what it was last season. I think it was something like 8,000 or something like that at the beginning of Season 3. This time around it's 12,000. And team managers can use the budget they have. They're able to use some of the budget to decrease the number of reliability points. The higher the number of reliability points, the greater the risk of the car breaking down. And I think on a track like this in Buenos Aires, 54 laps, it's quite slow in comparison to a number of other circuits. Now, in Season 1, when the Grand Prix World Series raced here, when it was just one league, only 9 drivers made it to the checkered flag. And we look at Jamie Chadwick, who is next to go through on the LaRusse of Matteo Caroli, and she's through up into 15th position. This is a good drive so far from the 3-time W Series champion, Jamie Chadwick, who is part of the Williams development setup. And now we look at... Oh, and that's Chadwick! I spoke too soon. She's off the circuit, and I think she's damaged the Riel while she's at it. So coming through the left and right-hander and into the curve number 8, I think it's called. And yeah, while she spun round into the gravel, she broke the front wing. So that'll be her off into the pits at the end of this lap. That's a huge shame because she was running well, and she's completely thrown it all away and has fallen to the back. She's back on track anyway, so at least she's still in the race, but she's left herself with too much work to do, and it's going to be a long ways for her from there. Nick Cassidy locking up again, all over the back of Matt Campbell, being frustrated behind him for a few laps now. Oh, we're going to see a change for position very, very soon. I can't quite tell whether he's actually right at the gearbox of the Ram. He should be. I think he's fallen back because of that lockup he had into the Center S. With Toma Miyato running in 3rd place ahead of Sacco Sullivan. Going very well so far. He's in front of the race winner of last time out at Hikara Pagwood, Nick de Vries in the Andretti, who won out in their maiden Grand Prix World Series appearance. And Also the first Grand Prix World Series race for team manager Linus O'Howell. Chadwick coming into the pits for a new nose cone. And I imagine, I don't know whether she's intended to do a 2-stop or a 1-stop, but either way, she's going to have to hope for a lot of misfortune from others to have any chance of coming away with anything today. Right on board with Sarah Moore in the Surtees, chasing after the Tolman of Dennis Hauger. FIA Formula 3 champion in 2021, has been around the F2 grid for a few years now. He's had a lot of misfortune come his way, in all honesty. He has picked up a few victories right there and then. Now we look at Colton Herta locking up into the centre S in the dams, and he very nearly came back into the path of the Zach speed of Stoffel van Dorn. Herta picked up his best ever Grand Prix World Series result of 7th in Brazil. Hoping to continue that form here under the eyes of team manager Phil Kinch. Robin finds 6th position in the Zach speed. He's about to be overtaken actually by Alex Palou, who's gone through ahead of him. And Palou up the inside before they get to the fast left-right chicane. One of which I don't really know the name of off the top of my head, but Palou got through on the inside, and that's a neat overtake there from the Spaniard to get through on the Dutchman. Alex Palou, who got the pole position and fastest lap in Brazil on his way to a 2nd place finish. Now we look at Antonelli in the Coloni, under threat from Mike Conway in the Real. Coloni under new management this season, Lewis Bassendale, who was previously the team manager of the AGS team. Cassick still all over the back of Campbell, fighting for the lead. As we watch Stoffel van Dorn, who's dropped back a little bit from Colton Herta since we last saw the Belgian. It's under attack from Matteo Caroli. Behind Caroli is the 2nd LaRousse of Abby Pullin. Both Caroli and Pullin made it to the end of the race in Brazil, albeit outside the points. But if you do finish races, then that counts as prize money towards the team manager's budget before the upgrade window opens after the round that follows this one. Look at Dennis Hauger. I think it's about to be overtaken by Sarah Moore. Moore up the inside of Dennis Hauger, and that's her through into 23rd position. That's something to give Jake Sanson something to cheer about. May not be the points yet, but a lot can change in this race, as I've already mentioned. So it's Ram leading Dome, then it's Dome leading 40. It's leading Andretti, leading Ram, leading Zach Speed, leading Andretti, leading Carlin, leading 40. We look at Mike Conway, he's locked up into the hairpin by the looks of it. The hairpin named Entrada a los Mistos. Just call it Mixtos for now. But Mike Conway hoping to build on his 6th place finish. It's the 2nd race running for Mike Conway, if you were to include his performance in Laguna Seca at the back end of Season 3. He's shown good promise for Ed Hunter despite the car's troubles. But at least they've started off on the right foot this season so far. Now we look at Luke Brown, he's locked up in front of Callum Ilott and Will Power. Just the one retirement so far in this race, Jess Hawkins retiring on the 3rd lap with engine problems. back at the front, we're looking at Campbell and Cassidy. Albeit for a brief moment. We're now looking at the battle for 17th position between Tom Najiri and Pato Ward. Into Mixtos, I should say. And Cassidy, how close is he looking to get up to Campbell here? He needs a good exit coming out of the penultimate corner of the circuit of Parga. He's into the slipstream, but he's not close enough to really attack, so he may have to hold back a little bit. Those closing in on De Vries, whilst he's in 6th place. Let me know who your money is on for promotion this season, or in fact the race itself. And now Cassidy's right up on Campbell's tail here. Be very audacious to go for a move here. It's just not enough. It's just not really alongside to make the move. Has to hold back. Campbell continuing on towards Browning, wide in the curb before Mixtos. And in 10th place ahead of Ilott and Power. Hertz is joining the battle in 13th place. Of the calendar for this season. We've been to Ricara. Today is Buenos Aires. In 2 weeks' time, we'll be going to Indianapolis, and it's to Toronto in Canada. Whilst we watch someone lock up there, I think that was Sacco Sullivan that locked up into Parga. No harm done there. Whilst I say that, round 5 will be at Montjuic Park in Spain, and it's off to Dijon-Bourgogne in France. Mugello in Italy, Nürburgring in Germany for round 8, which will also be the venue for the mid-season test. Istanbul Park for round 9, and it's Pärnu in Estonia, which is one of many new venues in the Grand Prix World Series this season. And the stop in Sweden for round 11, which will be the last European race of the season. It's off to Zhuhai in China, or Topless Japan for round 13, it's Yongam Sepang. And the season finale in Surfers Paradise, Australia. There's the Macau Grand Prix to follow that too, which will involve the top 13 highest scoring teams across the 2 leagues that will participate in that. We'll remind you, the top 3 teams in League 2 at the end of the season will go up to League 1. And in League 1, the bottom 3 teams will go down to League 2. Dome and Ram were one of those that were in the running for promotion going into the last race at Laguna Seca in Season 3, but just weren't consistent enough over the course of the campaign to put their places. But they're looking very good this season. Very encouraging signs with team managers David Yunt and Ross McGregor. Conway in 22nd position. His teammate Jamie Chadwick is at the back after she needed to come in for a new nose section. Abby Pulling in 16th position ahead of Najiri and O'Ward. It's Chris Miney, Kimi Antonelli, Bruno Senna, Mike Conway, Sarah Moore, Dennis Hauger and Jamie Chadwick. And we are looking at a move from Matteo Caroli on Stoffel van Dorn, and that's good enough for the Italian to go up into 14th place. There's Miazza running in P3 still, ahead of Sacco Sullivan. Cassidy's still behind Campbell in the battle for the lead. We're on that 13 out of 54. Won't be too far away from pit stops. Keep an eye out on who's doing the 2-stop and who's doing the 1. Look at Van Dorn running in 15th place in the sack speed. Retired with Mechanical Gremlins in Brazil. It's gone further here. top 10 has been unchanged since Alex Palou got by Robin Fines about 5 or 6 laps ago. We've got the League One race to come up later on. O'Sullivan's still going after Miata in the fight for third. Dennis Hauger has come into the pits at the end of lap 13. I don't know if that's a scheduled pit stop or whether he's encountered problems as the Norwegian. He'll come out in front of Jamie Chadwick anyway. The timing of his pit stop may pay dividends later. And here's Luke Browning in 10th place behind Jake Dennis. No way through at the moment. Campbell leads ahead of Cassidy. Lock it up. And he has slight lock up before he carries on. Hauger did rejoin ahead of Chadwick. Start getting hammered down and putting some fast laps and complete an undercut on a number of drivers. And we are seeing Cassidy take the lead now from Matt Campbell. We haven't seen the overtake. That's what we're going to have a look at now. On lap 15, Nick Cassidy up the inside of Matt Campbell, and he is through into the lead. And that was coming all along. Cassidy through at last in the dome. Matt Campbell must feel that he's held him up for so long that could help him later on, and Cassidy will want to just pull away now from the Australian. Ilott and Power is still behind Browning as we look at Browning trying to get through on Dennis. There's no way through for him yet. Here's Cassidy into the lead of the Grand Prix World Series race for the first time in his career. The pace that Cassidy was setting in comparison to his rivals may explain that he could be on a two-stop. Tony Miata in third place still. Both of the domes in the top three. It's O'Sullivan, De Vries, Palou, Frines, Hirakawa, Dennis and Browning. Running in P11. He had a tough time of it with LaRousse last season. He was in second place in the LSA. Oh, that's off! Is that Dennis who was off? I think that's Jake Dennis who ran wide. Or was it De Vries that ran wide? I think it was De Vries. He spun at turn number 4. Came right back into the path of Callum Ilott off the racetrack. And Callum Ilott will be absolutely furious. Nick De Vries, very lucky not to have completely taken out Ilott there, but he will be in serious trouble with the stewards for coming right back into the path of the Brit. He's having to wait for the whole field to go by. Amazingly, no damage has been done to his car. But he's certainly damaged Ilott's. And I can imagine he'll be hit with a time penalty for that. And it's a 30-second time penalty and a back of the grid job for the next race at Indianapolis. There'll be some stern words after the race, and there's an engine problem up ahead. Who would that be? Is it a LaRousse that's going slowly? No, it's not LaRousse. We need to see who it is, because it's trailing smoke. find out in a little bit later as we look at Sarah Moore. Callum Ilot's gone into the pits. Pato Ward is the one who's ducked into the pits. I think he might have been the one that had the engine problem. Well, I could be very much mistaken. We'll find out in a moment anyway. And Sarah Moore is able to go through. There's Alex Palou running in P5 now after De Vries's spin. Cassidy 1.4 seconds clear over Matt Campbell now, with Ritomo Miata in third place, Sako Sullivan fourth. There's Alex Palou, Robin Fines, Rio Hirakawa, Jake Dennis, Luke Browning, and Will Power as Bruno Senna is the next to go off the racetrack. Has he done exactly the same thing as what Nick De Vries did on the previous lap? He has done. He's gone further into the gravel trap this time. He should be able to rejoin without causing any drama with any of the other drivers. In fact, he's gone bouncing over the grass. He needs to be careful doing that, because that can easily rip the wheel off, and he's having to wait for the field to go by now. He's lost so much time thanks to this. Nick Cassidy has come into the pits from the race lead, as does Sako Sullivan. Matt Campbell goes back into the lead with Ritomo Miata in second place. We've got Alex Palou, Robin Fines, Rio Hirakawa also going through. Jake Dennis, Luke Browning also heading in. And Nick Cassidy, I think he's going to rejoin in some relatively clean air, and that's good news for his race. Hudson making his way into pit road. For your information, the reserve driver at Andretti is Linus Lundqvist. He's never competed in a Grand Prix World Series race. Had De Vries taken Ilott out of the race completely, De Vries would have been hit with a race ban, and Lundqvist would have been the one replacing him for Indianapolis. De Vries is a very lucky man that he's not being excluded from this one or out of the next race after that collision with Ilott. Here's Miata locking up into the penultimate turn before the kink. Cassidy's running in 9th place after his pit stop. He's behind Will Power. Browning's coming to the pits, so Cassidy will move back up the order a little bit. And there's Campbell in P1, ahead of Miata. Now we look at Sako Sullivan up the inside of Tomoki Nijiri. And 12th position is his. Drivers in front of O'Sullivan are Abby Pullin and Stoffel Van Dorn. There's Palou in P3 in the ramp. His teammate Matt Campbell is in the lead for now. There's Dennis Hauger locking up into turn 1, going away with it. De Vries' time penalty and back of the grid job is subject to appeal, but I highly doubt that is going to get overturned. I don't think Linus O'Howell will have a leg to stand on in relation to that. Will Power comes into the pits, and that releases Nick Cassidy. I wonder if Nick Cassidy may go for a new fast lap here. It's on a 1:26.9, which is the fastest up of the race. He wasn't able to improve that on this lap. The point is his at the present moment. Alex Palou in P3. Formerly within the AGS team. The team had folded after their relegation. And Alex Palou has been recruited by Ross McGregor to be alongside Matt Campbell. Look at Mike Conway, who's running in 15th position. With all the melodies going on, he's made the most of it, has moved up the order, but some drivers have pitted, he hasn't yet. And there we see Matt Campbell over the line to complete lap 20. I think any of those that haven't pitted yet, I'd imagine they're going to be doing the one stop. Campbell will be doing that with Ritsoma Miata as well, as will Alex Palou. Nick Cassidy, after his pit stop, is in P7 behind Jake Dennis. See the dome of Ritsoma Miata in second place. His teammate Nick Cassidy is P7 behind Dennis, all over the back of him. Oh, and there's a collision. That's Antonelli. And who's that? Is he tangled with? I think he's gone off at Antonelli. Yeah, he's done exactly the same thing as what Nick de Vries did. And I think he's done exactly the same by coming back into the path of another driver. In fact, he's taken out Nick de Vries as he rejoins back onto the racetrack. There is de Vries coming through. Right on board now. Has that terminally damaged the Andretti? Don't think it has. But it certainly broke de Vries' front wing. And Antonelli will be hit with the same punishment is what de Vries got for the collision with Eilert earlier on. 30 seconds worth of a time penalty. And back at the grid job for the next race in Indianapolis. It's not been a good race so far for Coloni so far. As we watch O'Ward. And de Vries needs to be very careful that it doesn't come back into the pub. We saw it last season actually involving, was it Louis Delachaz or was it Roy Nissani? I think it might have been Roy Nissani. They came together with Colton Herter at the chicane and it caused quite a debate as to whose fault it was. As we see Sakura Sullivan getting through on Topher and Don, that was not the hardest overtake he had to do. Sarah Moore is about to be overtaken by Willpower. And de Vries comes in for a new nose section. I think that's effectively this race done, to be honest with you. As you see, Colton Herter getting through on Sarah Moore. Sarah Moore is beginning to struggle. She hasn't pitted yet in this race. Here we see Matt Campbell in P1. Over 6 seconds clear of Ritsoma Miata. Look at Matt Campbell crossing the line to complete lap 22. Not too far away from his only stop of the race. Cassidy's behind Ryo Hirakawa. I don't think it'll be too long before he gets by him. There's Jamie Chadwick after her excursion and he's coming for a new front wing. She's in 23rd place ahead of Bruno Senna and Nick de Vries. Conway, who has locked up in front of Willpower. Will Power is going to complete an overtake on him. Conway just had no defence whatsoever. And that's Power go through. That's play, P3. Remarkably, we've only had one retirement in this race. Jess Hawkins out on the third lap with engine melodies. And now we see Conway under threat from Tom Cairns as we see O'Sullivan run wide in the 40 up ahead. In ninth position on circuit after his pit stop. Ahead of him is the LaRousse of Matteo Caroli. Jake Dennis in P7 behind Rio Hirakawa, who's been overtaken by Nick Cassidy. Cassidy's all over the back of Robin Frines, and I think Cassidy's going to go through on Frines, which he does so now into 4th place. Cassidy coming back through the field. We're back into the race lead once Campbell, Miata and Pelot come in, but Cassidy is expected to make a second stop in this race. Once more. Two Rams in the top 3 still, 2 Domes in the top 4, so it's Ram, leading Dome, leading Ram, leading Dome. Robin Fine's doing a stellar job so far on his return in 5th. It's Rio Hirakawa going well again in the Carlin, with Jake Dennis in the Andretti, who's pretty much their only hope now in salvaging something from this race. Right on board with Colton Hertz once more. He's behind Mike Conway in the battle for 16th. There's Ice Below, who will be under threat from Nick Cassidy very shortly. Although I would expect Below to be in the pits before Cassidy catches up to him. Lead is over 7 seconds ahead of Ritomo Miata. And there's Will Power running in 15th place. And over the grass a little bit, but gets away with it. He's not had the best of luck in the past at this track as Will Power. Made an absolute hash of it at this corner when he was at Leighton House in Season 2. And there's an engine problem for Zach O'Sullivan, nudged off the circuit by the LaRousse of Abby Pullin. And that is him gone from this race. You can see Stoffel Van Dorn, I think, going through. I think, was it him that nudged into him? No, it was Abby Pullin. I was right. I don't blame Abby Pullin for that, to be honest with you, because she was trying to get through. But that is O'Sullivan's race over. 2 races in South America and 2 non-finishes for the Brit. Right on board with Abby Pullin. And yeah, I think that'll go down as a racing incident. O'Sullivan retires from the race. He is the second driver to retire, and that's engine problems for Dave Goddard's team. Campbell continuing on in the lead. As we watch to 3, so we'll go back up the order a little bit. And no further action has been taken in the incident involving O'Sullivan and Pullin. Abby Pullin's had a happy time with it recently. Twice a race winner in Miami in F1 Academy. She also won in Brands Hatch in British F4. And that's Sarah Moore off the circuit, and I think that's a problem for the Surtees driver. Has she had a spin, or is it a mechanical issue? It looks like a mechanical issue for Sarah Moore, and that is her out of the race. Both Surtees cars out of the race now. Jake Sunson is going to leave here with no points to his team. At least Sarah Moore got further into this one than she did so in her Carapagua, but she'll want to be getting to the end of races. And that's the end of it for the team. Now, 3 teams have yet to score a point. 10 different teams scored points in Carapagua. Longhurst are running wide at turn 1 thanks to a lock-up. LaRousse, Sat Speed and 40 are the only teams yet to score. And Matt Campbell's come into the pits from the race lead, ahead of Ritomo Miata, who is staying out for another lap. Now, where will Campbell come out? He'll come out behind Cassidy, we know that for a fact. Where is he going to come out in relation to Luke Browning, maybe? Well, he should get out ahead of Browning, because Browning's too far back. And Campbell rejoins ahead of Matteo Caroli. Campbell was rejoined in 6th place behind Jake Dennis. Now we wait for the gaps to update, and then we'll know the real gap between Cassidy in 3rd and Campbell in 6th. Cassidy is expected to make another stop though. It's Jamie Chadwick in 20th position now. Thanks to the retirements of Moore and O'Sullivan. And that's Campbell off! First lap out of the pits and he's off the circuit! That's a shock, straight into the gravel trap at curve number 8. And that won't please Ross McGregor one bit. Campbell, with a chance of going for the victory, he's out of the race now. He's off, he's out. All of his own making as well. Another chance of a victory for Matt Campbell disappearing. After being on pole today, he has thrown it all away. So that should give Cassidy an easier ride to victory. But Ritomo Miata and Alex Pereira are still yet to pit. Matteo Caroli pitted in from 6th place. Nigiri in 9th, coming in also in the Prema. Conway also heading in. Right on board with Nick Cassidy in 3rd place on track. And there's Ilott getting through on Kimi Antonelli, who is carrying a 30-second time penalty for the collision with Nick de Vries. And Colton Herta with a need-fast stop of the race on his fresh set of tyres. He's outside the top 15 at the moment, is the American. He's having another good race so far. Four drivers out then, over the last 5 laps or so. Matt Campbell out, along with Sarah Moore, Zach O'Sullivan and Jess Hawkins. Tamaki Nigiri ahead of, looks like Jamie Chadwick, as we watch Dennis Hauger locking up into the hairpin there of Mixtos. I'll take a moment then to get that pronounced correctly. Dennis Hauger with a lot of work to do, chasing his first points in the Grand Prix World Series. Chris Schmine coming in for Coloni. Ritomo Miata carrying on his way, not coming into the pits just yet. Jamie Chadwick coming in now, running wide on her way in. This is her 2nd stop of the race, it's her first scheduled one. wonder where Miata will come out. As Colton Herta sets another new fastest up the race, 126.7. And he is still outside the top 15 as we speak, but he's going very well, some fast lap times. As we watch Cassidy run wide on the exit of the right-hander before the centre S. You won't want to do that too many times. We have seen drivers break their front wings bouncing over the grass at that particular part of the course. That's staying out there still. I wonder how many laps he's still got left on his fuel gauge. He's coming up towards back markers now, so that will probably be the point where he needs to come in. Oh, and Cassidy smooths at turn 1 though! Cassidy in the dome, throwing it all away at the first corner of the racetrack. When it looks comfortable for the Kiwi, he is spun at the first corner of the racetrack, and Cassidy is probably going to have to wait for Robin Fries to go through before he rejoins. Topher Van Dorn coming into the pits in the Sack Speed, as is Abby Pullin, and Cassidy is struggling to get the car points in the right way. He needs to be very careful he doesn't damage the car here. Very lucky to get going again, but he is only a short distance clear of Alex Palou, you could just see in the background. And that has made Cassidy's race harder than desired. Robin Fries through into second place in the Sack Speed, but he's yet to make a pit stop in this. And Colton Herta, for the third lap running, has posted a new fastest lap of the race. He's enjoying life out there, and if he keeps hold of it, that'll be a championship point coming his way. And that'll be the first fastest lap point he'll have achieved in his Grand Prix World Series career. And finally we see Ritomo Miata coming into the pits from the lead. What is Robin Fries going to do? Is he going to stay out there, or is he going to come in also? No, he's also heading in. Could have stayed there for another lap if he wanted to, with the number of laps he had left on his fuel gauge. But he's coming in now, and Nick Cassidy will go into the lead ahead of Alex Palou. He's coming over the start-finish line now. Cassidy goes through into the lead. Miata will rejoin in second place behind the Kiwi, but ahead of Palou. Just see Miata just getting the car in line for the corner, as we see Palou on the inside there with the Japanese on warmer tyres to the dome, and Palou is able to take advantage. Robin Fries, after his pit stop, is rejoined in 7th position. Robin Fries has yet to take a victory in the Grand Prix World Series, despite being at Super Aguri for more than 2 seasons. Let's see, Nick de Vries trying to make up for lost time. He has that penalty hanging over him. We'll see Nick Cassidy continuing on his way. With Ritomo Miata on fresher tyres, I would expect him to catch up, maybe get through on Alex Palou very shortly. Cassidy got away with one there. And the bad news for him is that he was due in for another pit stop before this race is over, so he's got a lot of work to do. If he's got any chance of even finishing on the podium. Ritomo Miata going very well. We're looking at Tomoki Najiri. Oh, he had a little twitch there on the pit straight there. I'm not sure if he's encountered a bit of a problem, but seems to be under control with that. Behind him are Abby Pullin, Chris Miney and Colton Herta, who's into 15th place now. A charge is the American with the fast laps that he's been putting in. only 40 left in the race. Luke Browning in P4 ahead of Will Power's Pramer. Rio Hirakawa is 6th. Behind Hirakawa will be Robin Friends. He's very much going for it right now. And there's Jamie Chadwick, who has her second spin of the day. Now, will she get back onto the circuit without damaging the Riel this time? So she's coming through the chicane. Enters the right-hander curve on number 8. Bounces her way towards the gravel. Is she able to get out of there? Or is it curtains for her race? Waiting for Bruno Senna to go through. She's heading back onto the circuit now in 22nd and last place. Back at the front, Miata behind Palou in the battle for P2. Dome have already tasted victory in the Grand Prix World Series last season at Fuji, where Kamiya Sato came out on top. As Cassidy locking up into Mixtos below, and Miata won't be too far behind him very shortly. But they don't even need to go for it on him, do Palou and Miata, because they know that Cassidy is due into the pits again. Lap 33 of this race. There's below, there is Miata. There's Tomoki Nijiri in 12th position, which is no longer his because he's just been overtaken by the LaRousse. And I think Nijiri has encountered some issues here because Kushmaini's got through a little too easily. It may be that Nijiri ran too far out wide and it was easy for Pullin and Maini to go through, and Colton Herta I think will follow suit. So Herta up the inside of Nijiri. It's easier said than done. Herta's teammate Pato Ward is in 10th place in the dams, behind Matteo Caroli, who's chasing his first Grand Prix World Series points. There's Miata behind below, they're catching up on Cassidy. And like I say, they do not need to try and pass him on the circuit. I think Cassidy needs to try and do what he can to hold Palou up, to help Miata. Don't think we're going to be too far away from a potential overtake from Miata on Palou. Less than 3 seconds separating the top three. Nice play. P2. Ward, who's running in 10th place, the former Arrows driver. Now racing for dams. He's been doing a fine job so far to maintain the position. Right aboard the rear wing angle of the dome. Third, it's Browning, Power, Hirakawa, Fines, Dennis, Caroli, and O'Ward. He's then continuing on his way. Approaching 2/3 race distance. Gasly needs the best pit stop of the race to get out with some clean air, but I think it's going to be very difficult for that to happen. Tom Herter comes in for his second stop of the race. I don't know if he's encountered a problem as Herter. He's into the pits now. That's going to drop him way down the order. Four drivers out of the race so far. We've lost Matt Campbell after a spin into the gravel. Sarah Moore retiring with engine problems as, transmission failure it was. Sacco Sullivan and Jess Hawkins are the other drivers to retire as Pato O'Ward goes through on Matteo Corelli very easily. And I think the LaRue has hit trouble. We'll have a look to see what the issue is with Corelli. Meanwhile, Cassidy comes in for his final stop from the lead. To get through, and as Van Dorn get through on Corelli, and Corelli has really hit trouble, and I think he became very close to taking out Van Dorn into the left-hander. You can see Van Dorn had to pull out alongside at the last moment. The pair are very lucky to keep going. Next behind Corelli will be his teammate Abby Pulley. Cassidy, Browning and Power are all in the pits for their second stops. Hello goes into the lead with Miata in second place. It's Hirakawa, Frines and Dennis. I think Cassidy will get out in front of Pato O'Ward in sixth place. We're looking at the battle for the lead. Pelot ahead of Miata. Is Hirakawa in third position ahead of Frines and Dennis. There's Dennis Hauger behind Nick de Vries. Corelli was able to get his LaRue back to the pits. He has lost a lot of time on his way in. Corelli will rejoin in 19th ahead of Colton Herter. There's below. There is Miata. First and second places. Closing stages of this race. It's all to play for between Dome and Ram. Carlin are looking good. Carlin are looking good for their second podium in a row. With Rio Hirakawa in third place as Will Power locks up, gets away with it ahead of Kushmaini. Ward is into the pits in the dams. Allow Van Dorn, Browning and Pullen to go through. It's looking good for 40, Sack Speed and LaRue's. They're all going to get points on the board, which means all 13 teams will have scored points after the first two races. Surtees are not looking like they're going to be adding to the table. Neither are Tolman. Dome and Dams. Still got a chance, although I think Dams is looking unlikely for them, as it is for Real. Dome looking good to get both cars scoring high as Power drifts his way through curve number 8. I don't think that will have done the tyres too good for the Australian. The 2022 IndyCar champion drifting his way through the corner where we've seen a few drivers spin round there, i.e. Jamie Chadwick and Matt Campbell. Power is having to work his way by holding up Kushmaini. Nick Cassidy running in 6th place in the Dome, chasing after Jake Dennis, Robin Frines and Rio Hirakawa. And Robin Frines chasing a podium. look at Palou ahead of again. Really locking up heavily into the centre S. And Tom Cairns right behind him. After his really unexpected pit stop, is going to be struggling to hold Hertz back, I would have thought. Top two. Looks like Luke Brown is chasing after Stoffel Van Dorn for P7. So both of the Zach speeds are going to be scoring high, with Ryan's 4th and Van Dorn's 7th. That's going to please team manager Mike Smith. Ryan's is on course for 12 points, Van Dorn's 6. 40 are going to get 4 points on the board provisionally. Abby Pullen is on course for her first points in the Grand Prix World Series. That's going to put Larisse on a couple of points too. And we can see Dennis Hauger behind Nick de Vries. Antonelli and de Vries are well out of the points anyway. It's unlikely they're going to be scoring. Luke Browning, meanwhile, has got 3 on Stoffel Van Dorn for P7. Van Dorn down to 8th now, just in front of Abby Pullen, although Pullen's a few seconds back. Palou still holding on though, ahead of Miata. As we look at Rio Hirakawa in 3rd place with 15 laps to go. His teammate Callum Eilert, after the collision he had with Nick de Vries, is running in 14th. What might have been for him had it not been for that. It's behind Mike Conway. We go back to the leaders again. Miata still less than a second behind Palou. As we look at Bruno Senna, who runs wide into turn number 3. He's able to hold on. He's in front of Jamie Chadwick. None of them have nothing to play for really in terms of points. It won't be too long before they get lapped by the leaders at this rate. In the Zach Speed ahead of Jake Dennis, who is on course to open his account for the season, as is Nick Cassidy. An hour into the race. Lowe is still leading. Our Ram going to celebrate their first Grand Prix World Series victory in their 18th entry. Well, Jake Dennis has spun round in the Andretti, right in front of Nick Cassidy. That's not good news for team manager Linus O'Howell by any means. Chasing after 4th place Frines, who just carried too much fockery into the corner, and Jake Dennis needs to get the car spun round, providing it doesn't cause problems for others, and it looks like it's going to fall well down the order behind the likes of Luke Brown and Stoffel Van Dorn. Will Power, who's now in front of Abby Pullen, as Pullen pulls off the circuit, and her race is over, unfortunately. That's a huge shame because she was running very, very well, coming close to the points for the 2nd race in a row. She's not going to be finishing this time around. Abby Pullen retires from the Lead 2 Buenos Aires Grand Prix. Jake Dennis looks to be very much out of the race unless he can get that car pointing the right way again. Andretti's race has gone from bad to worse. They are not going to be coming away with any points this time around by any means. And race leader Alex Palou is spun from the race lead. And into the lead goes Ritomo Miata, who's been piling on the pressure for a number of laps. And Palou has thrown it all away by himself. Ram's race gets even worse. Now, is Dennis going to rejoin the race? Well, Palou certainly is. He's in second place now. But the lead has been handed over to the dome of Ritomo Miata as Jake Dennis is still trying to get back onto the race circuit. And he's coming right so heavily, rejoining. And this is really terrible driving standards by Jake Dennis. This has been put down a lap now by Ritomo Miata. And I wonder if the stewards may take action with the standards of his driving here, because he's been pointing the wrong way for so long. He needs to be careful. He does not cause problems to any of the drivers, especially now. He's down a lap. Oh, he's come back into the path of the 40. We need to get a replay of that, because that looks like Luke Browning that he's just come together with. Has he taken the Brit out of the race? We'll have a look. He has done. That's Jake Dennis disqualified from the race and banned for Indianapolis. Dave Goddard will be absolutely furious with that. Luke Browning coming together with the Brit. 40 are going to be coming away pointless again. And Jake Dennis, well, he's going to be hit with the race ban for sure. And that's another retirement. This race has taken a turn. Palou throwing it away, but he's rejoining second place behind Miata. Luke Browning, by coming together with Jake Dennis because of Dennis's spin, has lost what would have been 6th position. So we're just waiting for confirmation from the stewards. I think we had the confirmation anyway. Jake Dennis disqualified from the race and banned for the Indianapolis round. Which means that Linus Lundqvist is going to get his Grand Prix World Series debut. So that allows Stoff Van Dorn's going to 6th place, Will Power 7th, going after Van Dorn. Kushmini is 8th, Tomiki Najiri is 9th, and Mike Conway for Real in 10th place, on course for a championship point again. Now we watch Jamie Chadwick locking up into turn 1, nearly taking out Bruno Senna. She didn't, thankfully. And Chadwick was into the slipstream, going for it on Bruno Senna. Well, she actually went for it. She completed the manoeuvre, thankfully, but she locked up and probably done no good to the tyres. You can see Miata still leading the way, 7 seconds clear over Alex Palou after Palou's spin. Hirakawa is 3rd, and it's Nick Cassidy who's in 4th place. Not anymore now, because he's just got through on Hirakawa. Up to the podium place as he goes. He could have been leading this race. It'll be for that spin, and now we can see a collision involving Antonelli and what looks like Matteo Caroli, but I think Antonelli has encountered problems, which is why he's just pulled off the circuit. Yeah, I think he's encountered problems. Having a look at Caroli here. From his perspective, he's a long way behind Antonelli, actually. And I don't think there was anything Caroli could have done. Antonelli pulls off the circuit here. The engine switched off and Antonelli's race is over with electrical problems. I don't think there's going to be any penalty issued to Caroli for that, because Antonelli was pulling off with problems. So that's another driver out of the race. He was carrying a time penalty over him anyway, was Antonelli. His car is carried over the barrier. Wait for confirmation from the stewards on the incident, and no further action is taken, and rightly so. Cassidy is catching below now. He may not be in the running for the race victory, but second place is still very much on. 10 laps to go. Miata leads on course for his first win in the Grand Prix World Series in only his second outing. If he does that, then both of Dome's victories in the Grand Prix World Series will be won by a Japanese driver. Cassidy's going to catch below. He needs to take at the very minimum half a second out of his margin, and that will be a tall order. It's looking very good for David Young's team. Last season it was Tatiana Calderon that won out for Marskov Lola on this track in League 2, thanks to an impressive comeback drive. But today, it's all about Ritomo Miata at the moment. You see Van Dorn and Power still going at it in the fight for 6th position. There's Nick Cassidy running well in P3. I say running well, he could have been leading, but at least he's still in the race, unlike a number of drivers. We've lost 7 now. Kimi Antonelli, Luke Browning, Abby Pollin, Matt Campbell, Sarah Moore, Zach O'Sullivan and Jess Hawkins are all out of the race as Chadwick locks up again in the Real. Oh, that's a spin for Ritomo Miata! He's the next to go for a spin. And we should see Alex Palou go back into the lead. 9 laps to go, and Miata has thrown it away by himself this time. Does he rejoin? Oh, that's so close to taking out Alex Palou. That was dangerous for Miata. We've seen a number of incidents with drivers coming back onto the circuit into the path with another driver today. This was very close to adding to that statistic. Oh my goodness me. Alex Palou is the luckiest man in this race. Miata will most certainly, I think, in my opinion, is going to pick up a time penalty for the dangerous rejoin, even though he didn't make contact with another driver. That was an unsafe rejoin for sure. Oh my goodness me. That, I have to say, he'll rejoin in 5th behind Robin Frines, but I think Miata is going to be hit with a punishment for his dangerous rejoin. And Jake Dennis is out of the race as well in the Andretti. We want to find where he's pulled off actually. He's pulled off at turn 1. He's not caused any more drama. And he's out of this race. He's out of the next one at Indianapolis in 2 weeks' time. Hirakawa in P3 now in the Carlin. Now, did we get anything from Ritomo Miata? I didn't quite see whether he picked up a penalty. We'll find out as the race concludes. But Alex Palou is back into the lead again for Ram, with Nick Cassidy in 2nd place and catching him. What is the gap over the line? With 8 laps to go, it was 4.1 in the last sector. It's 4 seconds. Has Nick Cassidy got enough time to catch the man who finished on the podium in the Pago? Well, I can say one driver is not going to be scoring today, is Dennis Hauger, although his spin has only contributed to him having a 360 and rejoining. Power in 6th place for Prema, ahead of Stoffel van Dorn. It's Kushmani in 8th place, Nigeri 9th. Both Prema's going to be scoring in the team's second Grand Prix World Series outing. The gap in Sector 2 between Palou and Cassidy is 3.5 seconds. Cassidy has been able to take half a second out of Palou's lead on this lap so far, and they've still got the third sector to get through. A lot of twists and turns in this race. There is Palou in P1 with 7 laps to go. He's 3.4 seconds clear over Cassidy. Cassidy took another 10th out in the last sector. 6/10 in total on that lap. Has he got enough time? He's on fresher tyres to what Palou is on. Through the right-hander. Taken out of Palou's margin in the last sector, so we're watching it to freeze. He's in 15th position on track, a 30-second time penalty will drop him well down, all the way to 19th, I think. And the gap is 3 seconds between Palou and Cassidy. Cassidy is getting close, but he's running out of time to catch Palou. Running out of chances to get the overtake completed, unless Palou just makes an absolute hash of it, like he did earlier. See Jamie Chadwick at the back. At least you'll see the checker flag for the first time. The gap is 2.8 seconds between Palou and Cassidy, with 6 laps to go. What's the gap now in sector 1? It's 2.6. Another couple of tenths taken out of Palou's margin by Nick Cassidy. Ria Hirakawa in 3rd place ahead of Robin Fines. Are Carlin going to get another podium out of this? It's looking increasingly likely. Hirakawa just needs to make no more mistakes here. And Van Dorn running wide on the exit. Curvin number 8 before Ascari, but he's still on course for his first points of the campaign, and Sax Speed's first, with Robin Fines running in 4th position. As it stands with the points, Ram are going to be leading the team's championship. And there's an engine problem, and that's Mike Conway in the Real, who's on course for a championship point, but he's been taken off there by the dams of Pato O'Ward. You want to take a good look at that? Isla was able to get through, but O'Ward tipped the Real off the circuit. And you could say it was on O'Ward who tipped him off there. We'll find out what the stewards make of it. Conway is out of harm's way, and that is him gone from this race. So Islet is able to go up into 10th place, as Mike Conway retires with a water leak. I think he'll still be classified as a finisher as well. We want to have a look to see what they'll make on that penalty. In fact, Pato O'Ward has been given a 10-second time penalty for the collision. So he'll drop behind Traroli, Herter, and, well, what would be De Vries, although De Vries has got a penalty of his own. So as it stands, O'Ward will lose 2 positions. The gap is 2.2 seconds between Palou and Cassidy, with 4.5 laps to go. And the gap in sector 2 is 2.1 because he was able to take another tenth out of the margin. Hirakawa still in third place ahead of Robin Friends. Miyatsu is a further 3 seconds off as he makes another lock-up into the center S. Now, are Ram going to taste victory for the first time in the Grand Prix World Series? Or are Dome going to take their second victory in their history? The gap over the line is 2 seconds, with only 4 laps to go, and Cassidy has to take another half a second out of the margin every lap, but even that might not be enough. Catching is one thing, passing is quite another in motor racing. Looking at Nick de Vries, he's in 14th place, but will drop back thanks to the penalty he's got. There is the dome of, I think that's or is that Ritsoma Miyatsu? It might be Miyatsu actually, thinking of it. The gap is 1.7 seconds between Palou and Cassidy in Sector 2. And we see Fines bouncing over the grass before the centre S. That's not going to help the car too much. He's not too far away from a solid result there for Fines on his return to the Grand Prix World Series. Hirakawa in third place. 3 laps to go. The gap is 1.6 between Palou and Cassidy. What a race it's been today. The twists and turns. We may not have seen the last of it here. Palou had a spin. Cassidy had a spin. Miyata had a spin, all of which whilst they were in the lead. Matt Campbell had the chance before he spun out. Now we look at Kalamaila on course for a point in the Carlin. Even if Patsu Award was to get through, the time penalty will drop him down the order. Between Palou and Cassidy is 1.3 seconds before they come around to complete their 52nd lap. 2 to go at the end of this one. What is the margin over the line? .2. Cassidy's got to give it everything now. It's now or never. And there is Hirakawa, continuing on in third place. He's got a good distance between him and Fines. I don't think Fines is going to do anything about it. He'll be cycling for fourth place as Eilert locks up into the penultimate turn ahead of O'Ward. Herta still holds the point for the fastest lap for your information, so even if he finishes outside the top 10, he'll still get that. Look at Nick Cassidy, the gap is down to 1.1 in the first sector. What is the gap in sector 2? It's got to be under a second, surely. It's 1 second. Cassidy's giving it absolutely everything. Every corner of every lap. Got 1 lap to go then. Let's see, winding the car through. Will he push Palou into a mistake? The gap over the line is still a second. I think Palou just needs to keep the car on the circuit now. No more mistakes from here on in. Now, he's About to enter the corner where he made a mistake last time, as have another drivers have done. Goes through there, no such worries. Curve at number 8 where his teammate went off. No problems through that. What a race it's been, and Ram are going to celebrate a new milestone in their 18th Grand Prix World Series race in the hands of Ross McGregor. Alex Palou in his second race for the team. He took pole at Hikari Parkway before converting it into a second place finish. Today, it's going to be a first victory for him and for the team. And if Ram are going to be in the fray for a potential promotion place into League One, it's days like this that are going to be pivotal in their quest. Alex Palou exits the last braking zone of the circuit through the kink to win the lead to Buenos Aires Grand Prix. Ram and Alex Palou can call themselves race winners for the first time in the Grand Prix World Series. Nick Cassidy with his first podium finish in second place, and it's 2 podiums in a row for Carlin, with Ryo Hirakawa in third place. Delight again for team manager Perry Brown. Robin Fryns fourth for Sack Speed on his return, ahead of Ritomo Miata. Will Power will be sixth, ahead of Stoffel Van Dorn. 2 Sack Speeds in the top 7. That will please team manager Mike Smith. Kushmini in 8th for Coloni. Tomoki Najiri making it 2 Promos in the top 9 with a 9th place finish. The final point going to Callum Ilott in 10th. Ahead of Pato Award will drop back with his penalty. So Matteo Carello will be 11th, ahead of Colton Herter, who gets the point for the fastest lap. Award will be 13th. Nick De Vries will drop back with his penalty, which means Dennis Hauger will be 14th for Tolman. With Jamie Chadwick and Bruno Senna, the last drivers to finish. So Nick De Vries will drop down to 17th position with his penalty. Chadwick over the line. Where's Bruno Senna? There he is, look. But it's victory for Alex Palou and for Ram. They are on top at last here in Argentina. Nick Cassidy second for Dome, ahead of Ryo Hirakawa for Carlin. Robin Fryns fourth for Sack Speed, ahead of Ritomo Miata. Then we've got Will Power in 6th place. Stoff Van Dorn 7th for Sack Speed, ahead of Kushmani for Colleen in 8th. Tomoki Najiri in 9th, bagging his first points in the Grand Prix World Series. Callum Ilott taking the final point for Carlin in 10th place. Matteo Carelli was 11th for LaRose, just missing out on the points again. Then it's Colton Herter in 12th. Pat Award in 13th after his penalty. Dennis Hauger, Jamie Chadwick. Nick De Vries 16th after his 32nd time penalty for the collision he caused. Bruno Senna, the last to take the checkered flag. Mike Conway classified as a finisher in 18th. Kimi Antonelli retired with electrical problems. Luke Browning crashed out. Abby Pullin also retiring. Matt Campbell 22nd, had a Sarah Moore. Zach O'Sullivan, Jess Hawkins also retiring. Jake Dennis after the collision he caused with Luke Browning that took the 40 out. He's not only disqualified but also banned for the next race in Indianapolis. Matt Campbell took the point for pole position. Colton Herter got the point for fastest lap in the Dams. Today belongs to Ross McGregor and for the Ram team. Alex Palou coming out on top for the first time in his Grand Prix World Series career. He very much is confirming himself as a championship contender by the looks of it. Let's run down on the championship standings in League 2, courtesy of Topher Smith. We'll be back for the League 1 race very, very shortly.
A huge congratulations to Alex Palou there, taking his first ever Grand Prix World Series victory, and he looks well on course to mount a title challenge, having taken pole position in Jaracarapagua and now the win in Buenos Aires. He was run very close by Nick Cassidy there at the end, but he can still be satisfied with how the race has gone. And as far as the driver's standings are concerned, Alex Palou has jumped to the top of the standings now on 45 points, adding to 20 points he picked up in the first race of the season. Ryo Hirakawa, his second podium in a row, puts him second in the championship on 30 points. Nick De Vries not scoring today and down into third as a result, ahead of Nick Cassidy and Will Power equal on points. Cassidy ahead on countback. Ritomo Miata has both domes in the top 6, ahead of Kimi Antonelli and Scuderia Coloni. Robin Freins' amazing 4th place on his return today puts him up to 8th in the standings on 12 points. Mike Conway holding on to a top 10 position on 8, and Colton Herter still there with 7 points in the Dams. Looking at the team standings, Ram Racing leads the way on 46 points, 45 of those coming from Palou and Matt Campbell, not scoring any points today, but his 1 point for pole position adding to their tally. Dome second on 32, 1 point ahead of Carlin in third. Andretti not picking up any points today, are 4th on 25 ahead of Prema on 20. Zach Speed on 18, Scuderia Coloni on 16, Real on 8, Dams on 7 and Surtees on 2 to round out the top 10. Tolman down into 11th with the 1 point ahead of LaRousse and 40, both of the bottom 2 teams yet to score this season. And now with the League 2 race out of the way, we will look ahead to League 1. We're heading into this one. Sebastian Buemi is at the head of the standings, having won in Hancara-Pagua. Felix Rosenquist second in the Arrows on 18 ahead of Oliver Behrman, a brilliant podium for him last time out in the Simtek. John-Eric Verne put both Prost in the top 4 ahead of Oliver Rowland in the Arrows. Brendan Harley on 8 points ahead of Sebastian Bourdais and Tony Felix da Costa, Shane Van Gisbergen and Scott Dixon. He didn't finish the race last time out, but picked up 2 points for pole and for the fastest lap. Looking at the teams heading into today's League 1 race, Prost on 37 points. I think that might be the first time they have ever led the championship in the Grand Prix World Series. Arrows second on 28, ahead of Simtek on 15, Pacific on 8 and Minardi on 8, Pacific ahead on Countback, Force India on 4, Manor on 2 and Onyx on 1. We're still waiting for some points to be picked up by Mastercard Lola, BAR, Fonmetal, HRT and Leighton House. But of course we've only had one race of the season so far, so plenty of opportunities left to score some points, and that championship order will not necessarily be the same as it is when we reach the end of the final round in Surfers Paradise. There are no driver changes to bring you for League 1 today, so we're going to get straight down to the grid, and Scott Dixon has picked up another pole position for the Minardi team, 0.2 of a second ahead of Earl Bamber in the Leighton House. Leighton House really needs to score some points today to get their campaign off and running. Mahavir Raghunathan picking up where he left off in the first race and showing some incredible pace to put his BAR third on the grid. Sebastian Bourdais behind him in 4th in the second Minardi. Joseph Newgarden has put both Leighton Houses into the top 5 as they look to pick up some points today. Mick Schumacher 6th in the Mastercard Lola. They also really need to get some points on the board. Felipe Nasr 7th for Fonmetal ahead of Nicholas Latifi, Marcus Ericsson and Felix Rosenquist, the 2 Swedes sharing row 5 there in the Fonmetal and the Arrows. Pietro Fittipaldi 11th for Pacific ahead of Scott McLaughlin and the HRT, who did lead the race briefly last time out before a mechanical issue forced him onto the sidelines. Roman Grosjean 13th ahead of Alexander Sims in the second HRT. Sebastian Buemi, our race winner last time out, over half a second behind and 15th on the grid as a result. The 2 Force India 16th and 17th on the grid, Da Costa and Marcello going from the same row. Jean-Eric Verne 18th in the Prost ahead of Oliver Rowland and Kamui Kobayashi continuing his poor start to the season so far. Jules Gounon in 21st ahead of Shane Van Gisbergen, Brendan Hartley 23rd ahead of Oliver Behrman, Liam Lawson and Jose Maria Lopez. Over a second off the pole position time set by Dixon, 1.3 seconds to gap there. And I'm sure that Sam Hall will not be at all happy about the pace of the Argentinian at the moment. Well, starting from 26th, the only way he can go is forward. Could Lopez potentially pick up some points in his home race today? Well, he's got a lot of traffic to fight through to get there. But let's see how today's action goes with Scott Dixon on pole. Let's head down to trackside where Tom Cairns is ready and waiting once again.
It was a race to forget for Scott Dixon in Brazil, despite being on pole, but can he convert it this time here in Argentina for his first win of the campaign? The 5 lights are coming on now for the last time today here in Argentina. Lights on. Lights off. Dixon's start was very, very bad as Bamber gets to ahead of him in the Leighton House, and Dixon has not got off to a very good start by any means. And Bamber takes an early lead in the Leighton House. Newgarden is up there in 3rd place as he looks to hold back Sebastian Bourdais in the other Minardi. As the drivers come through turn number 3, and Earl Bamber in his second Grand Prix Series race leads, albeit for how long, because Dixon is on the inside there, but Earl Bamber is able to hold on. And Bamba leads. Dixon second. Newgarden third. Bourdais fourth. Matafira Gunnathan has had a really poor start in the BAR in 5th place. We've got Felipe Nasr in 6th from Von Mattel ahead of Marcus Ericsson, Mick Schumacher, Pietro Fittipaldi and Felix Rosenqvist. Sebastian Buemi has made a very good start in the Prost in 12th, the race winner in Hikaru Pagua. And we've got Roman Grosjean, Nicolas Latifi and Rafael Marcello in 13th, 14th and 15th places. Early days in League One. So we'll see Earl Bamber, Leighton chasing for their first win since the League One Kyalami Grand Prix last season with Sebastian Buemi. Can Dixon rebound and actually get back through on the Kiwi here? There's a great chance he's going to do that. He'll pull into the slipstream and get alongside. So into the slipstream it goes. Dixon pulls out alongside his rival. And Dixon takes back the lead of the race at the beginning of lap 2. Dixon in the Minardi, looking to defend his title in League One. And whilst we look at that, we are looking at the Leighton House, I think, of someone pulling off a move. I don't know what we are actually looking at on the replay. But Dixon is into the lead anyway, as Newgarden looks to get through on Earl Bamber. As they come out of the curve at number 8, which has claimed a number of victims in the League 2 race. Jonathan ahead of Felipe Nasr in the battle for 5th. Jonathan, who very briefly led the race after Dixon pulled out with engine trouble, is looking to bag some points. If he was to score, that will be his first points finish since the League One Sepang Grand Prix in Season 3. There's Kamui Kobayashi, who had a race to forget in Brazil. He finished towards the back. Hopes for better in the Simtek. 26 drivers still running, no collisions so far. Scott Dixon being new fastest up of the race. 26.2. Quickly pulling away from Earl Bamber. I wonder if Dixon will be on a lighter fuel load than the two Leighton Houses. Doing a tremendous job so far, as we'll look at Shane van Gisbergen in the Manor ahead of the Pacific of Brendan Hartley. There's Jose Maria Lopez in 25th position, started last on the grid, which is a huge contrast to last season where he was on pole. How times have changed for the local hero. There's Bamber as we ride on board with him. We just quickly cut away and looking at the arrows of Felix Rosenqvist. He's looking to build on his second place finish in Brazil. Arrows gain onto a positive start. Rosenqvist to get into the points at the moment. He is in the points in 10th place, behind the Brazilian of Pietro Fittipaldi. Dixon posts another new fast up of the race. Are we going to see a change for second place as Newgarden looks to go for it on Bamber into turn 1, and Newgarden is up the inside of his teammate, and the two Leighton House drivers have swapped places. Newgarden through and going after his old IndyCar adversary, Scott Dixon. Sebastian Bourdais is looking to get through on Earl Bamber. Sebastian Bourdais is a previous race winner at this track when he was at Onyx in Season 2. We've just seen an overtake actually from Scott McLaughlin on Felix Rosenqvist. He's through into the top 10 as the HRT pilot. Dixon already over 3 seconds clear. The pace from Dixon is extraordinary. Now, the amount of brake horsepower is quite similar with these cars. It's early days in the season as Brendan Hartley breaks his front wing and goes off the circuit in the Pacific. That is not going to please team manager Kevin McMullen at all. He was behind Shane van Gisbergen. I think Hartley is about to do the same thing as what he did last season on this track at the same corner. At least he's back on the circuit straight away and at the back of the pack. He will be in the pits at the end of this lap for a new nose section. Hartley is another race winner on this circuit in Season 1 when he was at Manor. So far, it has not got off to a good start here for the Pacific pilot. Points in the first race for Pacific with Hartley in 6th place. It's unlikely that Hartley will be scoring as he pulls into the pits for a new front wing. Pietro Fittipaldi running in 9th. Behind the Master Lola of Mick Schumacher. There's Dixon. As we look at Fittipaldi, who's got the HRT of Scott McLaughlin right behind. Has Fittipaldi hit trouble? It looked quite slow on the straight before they got to Ascari. To be pulling away now, so it could be just a bit of a misjudgment into Ascari for the Brazilian. There is Newgarden in 2nd position as the leaders approach the end of lap 5. Dixon is running away with it so far, aiming for his first win for Minardi. Dixon who won 7 times for Syntec in his career. He has more wins than everyone else, more fast laps than anyone else, more pole positions than anyone else. He's achieved more podiums than everyone else. He's achieved more points than everyone else, I believe, as well. So it has all the records. He's looking to extend that during his time with Minardi, who are dominating things here at the moment. Sebastian Buemi is in 13th place now behind Roman Grosjean. Scott McLaughlin still trying to get through on Fittipaldi, who breaks his front wing, and Pacific's race has gone from bad to worse. He caught the grass on the outside on the approach to Mixtos. He caught the curb and ran too far out wide, and that's the front wing on Fittipaldi. Smashed to pieces, and that'll be him into the pits as well. He needs to be very careful here, does Fittipaldi, because he's got the whole train of cars trying to get through on him. McLaughlin goes through. Rosenqvist goes through. Grosjean will go through. Sebastian Buemi will go through in a moment. Never like seeing situations like this because it could end up getting nasty. Bourdais has got through on Earl Bamber, for your information. He's got into 3rd place. So Bamber, who was in the lead on the opening lap of this race, is now down in 4th place. Fittipaldi comes in, and that'll be him going to the back of the pack with Brendan Hartley for company. No one else was involved in the incident. It has created a bit of a gap between Mick Schumacher and Scott McLaughlin. Look at Hartley in 26th place. Fittipaldi has left the pits and he's ahead of Hartley. As we look at the Kiwi, looking up into the right-hander of Parga. So looking at where the top 10 are from where they were on the grid. So Scott Dixon in the lead still, so no change there. Newgarden is up 3 from his spot. Bourdais is up 1. Bamber is down 2. Regunathan is down 2 from his grid spot. Felipe Nasr is up 2. Or 1, sorry. Marcus Ericsson is up 2. Mick Schumacher is down 2. Scott McLaughlin is up 3. And Felix Rosenqvist is in the same positions where he was on the grid. Two Prosts, who were the team of Brazil in League One, are running in 13th and 15th. They have made places from their starting positions. But Buemi and Verne are doing what they can to get into the points. Don't know for certain what strategies they are both doing. On lap number 8, no retirements so far. Newgarden and Bourdais. The gap between Dixon and Newgarden is 5 seconds. And it's Nasr trying to make his way through on Mahathir Raghunathan in the BAR. Fontel finished 2nd and 3rd at this track in League 2 last season, and it was also the race that sealed their promotion to League 1, with Marskov Lola going up that day as well. Tasso Mikado's comeback try. Felix Rosenqvist coming in 10th place, just ahead of Roman Grosjean, who's trying to make his way through. I think we're going to see an overtake in a second, as the Frenchman lines up a pass on the Swede. He's going to go for it into turn 1. Grosjean up the inside of the Arrows pilot, and that's him through into the top 10. Both Marskov Lola drivers in the top 10 now. We are seeing a replay of Grosjean pulling off the overtake on Felix Rosenqvist into turn 1, and that's him through, which is a clean overtake. Newgarden in P2 then, ahead of Sebastian Bourdais and Earl Bamber. Mahathir Raghunathan 5th, going well again for BAR. His teammate Nicholas Latifi is in 12th position ahead of Sebastian Buemi and Rafael Marciello. Nicholas Latifi trying to go for it on the arrows of Felix Rosenqvist. Is running in the Lucky Strike livery. His teammate Mahathir Raghunathan's running in the Treble 5 dark blue colours. As we watch Dixon over the line to complete another lap. The gap between him and Newgarden is just under 6 seconds. We're on lap number 10. Sebastian Bourdais makes it 2 Minardis in the top 3 at the moment. Earl Bamber making it 2 Leightonhouses in the top 4. Sean Verne, who's in front of Ollie Berman by the looks of it. Nicholas Latifi's got through on Felix Rosenqvist, so Harris's race gets even worse now. Neither of their cars are in the points, neither are the two Prosts, who, as Pietro Fittipaldi has become the first retirement of the race, and it looks like he's had enough. And I think that's contributed by an engine problem for the Brazilian, so one of Kevin McMullen's cars are out of the race here. Fittipaldi goes no further. Broke the front wing whilst he went through the gavel, but his race is up anyway. So Prost, 9 points clear of Arrows coming into this race. But the way things are going for Minardi, with Dixon in the lead and Bourdais in 3rd, they've got a pole position point which is not going to be touched. Dixon's got the fastest lap, which doesn't look like it's going to be touched either. So they will be collecting a total of 42 championship points, which will put them on to 50. We'll see them leapfrog Cross, Arrows, Simset, Pacific and all that. So they will be leading the team's championship as it stands with the way things are going. Lakehouse have got neither of their cars to the end of the race in Brazil. They're on course to get 30 championship points, which at the moment would see them go up to 3rd place overall. The only teams who have yet to score in the Grand Prix World Series are Marsco, Lola, BAR, Fonmatel, HRT and Leighton House. At the moment, all of their, at least one car from each of those 5 teams are in the points. Schumacher in 8th position behind Marcus Ericsson. Are we going to see either of these two challenging for the title in League 1, just as Ericsson won the League 2 championship last season? And we see Kobayashi go off the circuit, and the front wing has gone on that car. And he's had a spin into Ascari. Oh, that's so dangerous there. Very lucky he didn't take out another driver, and Kobayashi's race has taken a turn for the worse. Oh, he caught it. He tried to counter some oversteer and just hit the grass as he tried to catch it. And Kobayashi will be in the pits at the end of the start for a new nose section. Kobayashi, who threw away a race win here when he was a Manor driver, he's not had a good time of it so far in the Simtech. Here's Bourdais in 3rd place as we watch Jean-Luc Verne lock up. Right-hander. Turn number 1, Verne running in 15th. As Kobayashi picks in for a new nose section. On lap 12 now, Dixon's lead over Newgarden is close to 7 seconds. Sebastian Bourdais is 3rd, El Bamba 4th, Mahathir Raghunathan 5th. It's Felipe Nasser, Marcus Ericsson, Mick Schumacher, Scott McLaughlin and Roman Grosjean in the top 10 points scoring positions. There's Bourdais behind Newgarden in the battle for P2. Wonder what strategy both of them are going to be doing, or strategies I should say. There's Newgarden going well so far in this, as Dixon puts a lap on Brendan Hartley already. We're only on lap 13, but Hartley came in for a new nose cone on the in the early stages. So Kobayashi runs wide a little bit again. Gets away with it. Here's Bourdais once more. And he finds himself as a championship contender during the course of the season. Really, the second round of the championship in Buenos Aires, which is contrast to last season, it was towards the back end of the championship. Dixon overriding trying to complete the 13th lap. Making it look easy so far, but he encountered engine problems. It was looking so good for him. Hoping history doesn't repeat itself. In his first Grand Prix World Series Championship season, he had so many retirements. He had more retirements than finishes, did the Kiwi. Looking at Nicholas Latifi behind Roman Grosjean in the battle for 10th position. I think we've just seen a change for position because Alexander Sims has got through on Sean Fern for 15th position in the HRT. Behind Buemi. Newgarden, who is going after as we watch Antonio Felix da Costa for the third time in 4 races in Argentina. He is not going to make it to the checkered flag. He won here last season for Minardi, but it's the end of the road for him here in the Force India. He becomes the second driver to go from this. Spencer, the team manager of Force India, 1 driver down. Rafael Marciello running in 14th position. Fern pits in. I wonder if he encountered the problem, did Fern, because he's lost a number of positions before he came into the pits. So that's not helped his race either. There's Dixon. Behind him on the road is Brendan Hartley. Don't think it'll be too long before Dixon does actually pit in, given the pace we are seeing from him so far. There is Bourdais in 3rd position as we've got Shaul Gounon in the Onyx. He's got Ollie Behrman for company. These two is the arrows of Oliver Rowland. Joseph Newgarden in 2nd place in the Lane House. Indy 500 winner last year. Sebastian Bourdais. 3rd position. Bamba and Mahathir Gunnavan. Back to the race leader again as Kobayashi runs wide yet again, breaks his front wing, the right front wheels come off, and Kobayashi's obstacle race has come to a close. That is not going to please team manager Scott Woodward. A tough race has come to an end for the Japanese. And he is the 3rd driver out of this one. Simtek, I'm not having a good start to the season. And Fern is in the pits again. Would you believe? He must have had an issue on his first lap out of the pits. I think it's safe to say Prost are not going to be coming away with similar results to what they had in Brazil. Sean Fern has left himself with far too much work to do now as Dixon comes into the pits for his first stop of the race. From the race lead, so I think Joseph Newgarden should take over ahead of the pack. Bourdais going through as well. El Bamba will go through. What about Mahathir Gunnavan? Is he heading through as well? Well, I can tell you that Gunnavan is through, Nasser is through, Dixon rejoins ahead of Marcus Ericsson in 6th position. There's your new race leader, Joseph Newgarden, in the Lichtenhaus in his second Grand Prix World Series race. Sebastian Bourdais, who's raced a number of times now in the Grand Prix World Series, as we watch Sebastian Buemi lock up in front of Raffaele Marciello. Sebastian Bourdais competing in his 41st Grand Prix World Series race. Three times a race winner in this championship. All of them coming in Season 2 for Onyx, in Istanbul, Brno, and here in Buenos Aires. There's a lock up there. I think that's Alexander Sims who locks up behind Raffaele Marciello. Joseph Newgarden comes into the pits from the race lead. Bourdais also in for Minardi. And that's very interesting given the pace we've seen from Dixon. Nasser comes in for Fonmetal. Old Bamba goes into the lead then with Mahavir Raghunathan in second. Roman Grosjean also heading in. Newgarden rejoins behind Nicholas Latifi in 8th place. Berman also heading in the Simsec. It's unlikely they're going to be coming away with any points today. Dixon is in 3rd place, going for a fast lap presumably on his fresh set of tyres. Sebastian Bourdais has come into the pits again. I wonder what's happened to him. He's only just been in again. Has something happened to Sebastian Bourdais? Well, I can tell you Oliver Rowland has gone for a spin in the arrows and he's broken his front wing whilst he's at it. Steps out, bouncing over the grass, the front wing disintegrates, and Arrows' race goes from bad to worse. Rowland in the gravel trap. Is he going to be able to rejoin the race, or is it curtains for the young Brit? Had so many spins throughout today. Rowland is dropping down like a fly. Bourdais coming in for a second stop. That has ruined his race also for the Frenchman. And Rowland will be in the pits at the end of this lap for a new no section. And there's an engine problem for the Master Lola of Mick Schumacher, who is going well in the points, but he's not going to make it to the end of this one. Master Lola down one driver. Mick Schumacher just needs to be careful he doesn't become an obstacle to any of the other cars. He is out of the race. Front wing disintegrates and he pulls off in the same location as where he crashed out in the League 2 race here last season. But this time it's an engine problem and Schumacher's race goes no further. 2 races and 2 non-finishers for Mick. Back at the front, El Bummer still leading ahead of Raghunathan. Dixon was not able to post a new fast lap on his new tyres as Rowland comes in for a new front wing. Fall further down the pack. Bamber in P1. We assume he's going to do the one stop because he's continuing to stay out there, and I think Mahavir Raghunathan is doing the same thing. On lap 20 in this race. McLaughlin and Latifi are both in the pits. Newgarden will go up the order. Rosenqvist will do as well, as will Sebastian Buemi, presumably. Felipe Nasr, who's just pitted, is in 8th place. He's had a good race so far as the Brazilian. Scott Dixon closing in on Mahavir Raghunathan, who's yet to stop. They want to do all he can to keep Dixon behind because we know how quick Dixon is. It's Rosenfist. It's in the curve of number 8 through Scary. P7. I think he's going to be going for the one stop as well. I think if Prost have got any chance of coming away with anything today, the one stop is going to be the way to go for the Swiss. Sims behind Marcello. Four drivers out of the race so far: Mick Schumacher, Kamui Kobayashi, Antonio Felix da Costa and Pietro Fittipaldi. Nazar behind Sebastian Buemi. Nazar has stopped, Buemi hasn't. And Dixon trying to get through on McGonaghan, but he won't do it there. Too risky to make an overtake there. McGonaghan doing all he can to keep Dixon behind for as long as he can, before he is due into the pits. We're looking at Buemi and Nazar. Nazar trying to do what Dixon couldn't do on McGonaghan, and the result is the same. And now we're looking at Alexander Sims, who's next to go into the gravel, and the front wing's gone on the HRT. And the long list of spinners in Buenos Aires continues to add up. Yeah, and Sims, like we've seen many drivers do, just going too much speed, the rear end stepping out, and that is him into the gravel trap and him going back into the pit lane for a new front wing. Day and Verne will go through. He's going back on the track now as Sims. By the time he does exit the pit lane, he'll be a lap down on the leaders. And there is Dixon on the inside of McGonaghan into turn number 3 of the course, and the two-time Grand Prix World Series champion is due into second place, and the driver standing in his way and going back into the race lead is the compatriot of his, Earl Bamber. Looking at Jean-Eric Verne, who's pitted twice in this race, as has Sebastian Bourdais. Their race are wrecked by the problems that both of them have had. Can Verne get back into the points with the way things are going so far? We've had a lot of drivers having their own melody so far. At Nicholas Latifi, who's hit trouble in the BAR, and the Canadian is going to be out of the race. Pulls off the circuit, a long way out of everyone's view, and that's one car less for Will Knight to be focusing on in this round. The car continuing to disintegrate as he bounces over the grass, but the car has been lifted up over the barrier, and that is Latifi out of the race. The 5th driver to retire from this one. Dixon has taken back the lead of the race from Earl Bamber. We are seeing a replay of the overtake. And the move was going to be completed all along, wasn't it? Dixon on the inside of Bamber. And that's him through into the lead on lap 23. Too long before Bamber and McGonaghan come into the pits for their only stop of the race. Their only stops of the race. Dixon is expected to make another pit stop before the end, but with the pace that he's setting throughout this race, it's likely he's going to be coming away with the victory unless history repeats itself from what happened in Brazil. Dixon is coming up to lap the arrows of Oliver Rowland. We've seen a move from Felipe Nasr on Felix Rosenqvist. And Nasr is not able to get through this time around. Nasr already got through on Sebastian Buemi. And now he's going after the Swede, Felix Rosenqvist. There's Dixon heading over the line to complete another lap. Looking very, very good for his 8th Grand Prix World Series victory. More than anyone else. He's going up behind Oliver Rowland to lap. Bamba in second place ahead of Matt Hiviragunathan. We're watching Nasr up the inside of Rosenqvist, and that is him through into 6th place, and his race is going from strength to strength, as is Von Mettel's. Ericsson has yet to come in for a stop, and he's not far behind Joseph Newgarden, thinking of it. It's been a very, very good race so far for Von Mettel. It was a quiet one for them in Brazil, with neither of the cars finishing in the points. It looks stronger here, as Shane van Gisbergen is holding up Roman Grosjean. Grosjean making a move on the Kiwi in front. He's not able to get through just yet. From one Kiwi to another, Earl Bamber running in second place. As Rosenqvist locks up into the centre S in front of Sebastian Buemi. Are we going to be seeing a move from the Swiss? One out in Kawapagwa last time out. So the pit straight, is Buemi close enough to have a go? I don't think he is this time. To wait for a little bit longer. One overtake we are seeing now, though, is Grosjean on Van Gisbergen. Grosjean goes through and up into the points. Looking at the late house of Earl Bamber once more. 3 seconds off Dixon. He's just put a lap on Oliver Rowland now. It's given him a bit of time to do that. There is Ragunathan in P3. Not too far away from Bamber and Ragunathan coming in for their stops. Behind Ragunathan, in case you're wondering who that is, that's Alexander Sims, who's a lap down in the HRT. You can see Ollie Berman in the sole surviving Simtech. Outside the top 15 at the moment. As we watch Ragunathan go off the circuit in the BAR, the front wing is broken, and BAR's race has taken another turn for the worse. And the wheels come off on Ragunathan's car as he rejoins back onto the circuit. His race is over. No points again for BAR. A terrible shame for team manager Will Knight. BAR thrown it away yet again. Newgarden goes up into third position. What must Will Knight be thinking? It's going to be no points after 2 races for them. With the car as quick as it is, they need to start scoring points before the upgrade windows. As Earl Bumber comes in for his only stop of the race from P2. And it's a question as to where he'll fall down the orders. We watch Rosenqvist, who breaks his front wing as well. And I don't know what it is with drivers running over the grass and breaking their front wings. Felix Rosenqvist is the next driver to make a mistake of his own. And that is a costly error by his standards. Now, does he rejoin safely back onto the circuit? I think he's waiting for the traffic to go by. And Ariz's race is ruined. In fact, he's been hit! Who's that that's just run into him? Someone must have locked up and ran into the arrows. It's the mascot Lola of Roman Grosjean that's taken out the arrows. Now, by the rules and regulations, if Grosjean falls foul, he's going to be the one being hit with a race ban. He's run into the Arrows driver and he's taken Rosenqvist out of the race and nearly took out the manor of Shane van Gisbergen as well. Rosenqvist retires from the League One Buenos Aires Grand Prix, and I think Roman Grosjean is going to be hit with a race ban for taking out the Swede. Van Gisbergen comes into the pits for a pit stop as well. What is the punishment going to be for Grosjean? It would also mean a disqualification from this race too, if he is found guilty. Old Bumper rejoined in 5th place after his pit stop. He's going after Felipe Nasr. And we'll wait to see what the stewards say on that. What is the outcome going to be? A 1 race ban and a disqualification for Roman Grosjean. And he'll be out the next race in Indianapolis. And the driver replacing him, the team's reserve driver at Mascot Lola, that is run by team manager Marcus Johansson. Their reserve driver is Danica Fiat. Alternatively, they could put Tatiana Calderon, who's their test driver. So Marcus Johansson's got a bit of a decision to make, but I would imagine he'll probably go for Fiat, because he is their reserve driver. 7 drivers out of the race then: Rosenqvist, Raghunathan, Latifi, Schumacher, Kobayashi, Da Costa and Fittipaldi. Grosjean will be excluded from the race as well for taking out the Arrows pilot. And now we're watching Sims and Rowland go into battle. That's for 18th position on track. And we can see Newgarden in 2nd place behind Scott Dixon. Marcus Ericsson is 3rd, still yet to pit. Nasr has pitted once and expects to pit in again. He's in 4th place, and Earl Bamber, after his only stop of the event, is in 5th. Sebastian Buemi, who's also yet to stop, is in 6th. There's Jules Gounon, Romain Grosjean, provisionally 8th. And there's Scott 9th. Rafael Marcillo in 10th, and it's Liam Lawson, who would inherit the last point should Grosjean's disqualification stand. Sims go for it on Rowland into turn 1, and Rowland locks up as he's been overtaken. Just over halfway through the event now, and we've had a lot go on. Dixon 10 seconds clear over Joseph Newgarden. Marcus Ericsson is 3rd for Fonmetal, chasing their first podium in League One. Now, after the first 2 races, I think Fonmetal only picked up 1 point, or something like that. I think it might be a few more than that, but we had a slow start to the season as we watched Rowland go over the grass, and he's very, very lucky not to do what his teammate did. And just to confirm, it will be Danica Fiat replacing Romain Grosjean in Marscalola for Indianapolis as Ericsson comes in from the race lead. Not from the race lead, from third place. There is the race leader, Scott Dixon. Where will Ericsson rejoin? That's going to be an important question. He'll want to get out in some clean air, but I doubt that's going to be the case. As Grosjean is under threat now from McLaughlin and Marciello. Buemi comes in for Prost. He'll rejoin out the points. Oh, and Newgarden's off. Newgarden has gone off the track at turn number 4. And has he taken out another driver? Oh, he was very lucky. I think that was Oliver Rowland who was allowed down. And has Newgarden broken his front wing? Well, Felipe Nasr has gone into second place in the Fonmetal. Now, does he rejoin safely, Newgarden? He's behind his teammate, and he's losing more and more time as he's spinning around on the grass. This is not good to see, and it's not good driving standards either from the American. Hartley coming into the pits, but he's out of contention for points anyway. And Newgarden will be out of contention for points if he keeps on remaining in the gravel trap here. He's waiting for a gap in the traffic for him to rejoin. And it looks like he's reversing back onto the circuit. Needs to be very careful doing this, you know. And now he's on the other side of the circuit on the grass. He's losing even more time here. He's reversing back onto the grass again. Does he rejoin safely? Gets the wheel spin and he's back on circuit in 16th position. And he's nearly taken out the Minardi there. I think that was Scott Dixon, of which he very nearly collided. Jules Gounon coming into the pits for Onyx as well. He's had a very good race actually as Gounon. Starting from towards the back, he's got himself up as high as 4th position. Dixon's put a lap now, down now on Newgarden. And Jules Gounon will rejoin in 11th position, I believe, ahead of his compatriot Sebastian Bourdais. Verne comes into the pits again for Prost. Remember, locking up into the hairpin of Mixtos before he continues on his way. So all of these shenanigans have been favouring Fonmetal at the moment because Felipe Nasr is up in 2nd place now. In only his 2nd race for the team, formerly a Midland and Prost driver, Nasr is doing a superb job in this race. Marcus Ericsson in P7 will go up into P6 once Grosjean's disqualification has been applied. And now we look at Sebastian Buemi. Needs to be very careful. He doesn't run wide too much. He was lucky to keep his car on the circuit and no damage being done to his car. Liam Lawson is the next to go into the pits in the Onyx. On lap 32 so far, we've got 23 laps to go. Dixon has a 22-second lead over Felipe Nasr. I think even if Dixon was to hit trouble with mechanical gremlins and came into the pits, he would probably still rejoin ahead of Nasr. Now we watch Felipe Nasr in the Fonmetal. Behind him is the Leighton House of Earl Bamber. Sebastian Buemi in the process in 9th place after his trip to the pits. He's ahead of Jules Gounon. He's on course for another points finish. He's back with the grid drive in Brazil. And Oliver Rowland in 19th and last place on track. The only Arrows driver left in the race. There is a new rule for the Grand Prix World Series this season. If the reserve driver will automatically replace a driver who is being banned for the upcoming race. So for Moscow Lola, it's Danica Fiat, who's their reserve driver, replacing Roman Grosjean. Felipe Nasser in P2. Earl Bumber in third place for Leightonhouse. Scott McLaughlin doing a fine job in the HRT in fifth. He was towards the front in Brazil before he retired with gearbox problems. I wonder if we'll see any more pit stops before this race is over. Dixon starts in his 34th lap. He's coming up behind Jean-Eric Verne to lap. He's due in the pits again. Is the two-time Grand Prix World Series champion. There's Earl Bumber in third place. The second Grand Prix World Series race is going to make it a podium finish. And now we look at Ericsson, who's next to go for a spin. It's at turn 1. He's facing the oncoming traffic. Behrman goes through, Buemi goes through. Race leader Scott Dixon goes through ahead of Marcus Ericsson to lap. Ericsson has allowed Shane van Gisbergen to go through, and he's spun the car again. He's having to wait for the traffic to go through. Liam Lawson ahead of him now. Ericsson's good race has come back down to earth, and he rejoins in 13th place. So not a good sign in contrast to his teammates' events so far. Felipe Nasser in second. Sebastian Buemi running wide there on that curb. He's still in 8th position, on course to add to his race win in Brazil. He's behind Ollie Behrman. He's a couple of seconds behind the Brit, so there is a chance he may still get through ahead of him. There's still a lot of time in the race for everything to change. Looking at Scott Dixon, the race leader, coming up to lap Jean-Eric Verne. Rafael Marcello coming in from 6th place. He'll rejoin behind Behrman, Buemi, Gounon, Bourdais and Van Gisbergen. So I think Marcello will rejoin 11th place. Scott McLaughlin locking up into turn number 3 and getting away with it. He's behind Roman Grosjean. As it stands, will be excluded for the race result, from the race result for causing the retirement of Felix Rosenqvist. Rafael Marcello rejoining 10th place behind Sebastian Bourdais, so he's still in the points, is the Italian. Forcinia really could do with another point or two today. And at least no one has to put up with Grosjean's antics in this one, because Grosjean is out of the race, and he's also out of the next one in Indianapolis, with Danica Fiat coming in to replace the Frenchman. So he joins Mick Schumacher on the sidelines. Felipe Nasser coming in for his second stop of the race. So I was mistaken that Nasser hadn't pitted. He actually did pit in the first round of pit stops of those who are doing the 2 stops. He's done very, very well in this one as Felipe Nasser. I think he'll rejoin in 4th place behind McLaughlin. There's Oliver Rowland locking up and nearly running wide there. He's in front of Earl Bumber, who's trying to... Well, is that Joseph Newgarden? I think it might be Newgarden actually, who came into the pits. Behrman and Bourdais are in now for their second stops, which allows Buemi, Gounon and Marcello to go up into 5th, 6th and 7th. And Van Gisbergen is now 8th. Now we look at Scott Dixon, 27 seconds clear of Earl Bamber. I think even if Dixon was to pit now, he would rejoin ahead of his compatriot. Sims comes into the pits again for HRT. Dixon is still behind Vern to lap. So clearly Vern has picked up his pace, or Dixon isn't going as quick as he was doing in the early stages. And now we look at Nazar locking up in front of McLaughlin. And I think Nazar rejoined ahead of the HRT after his stop, and he's locked up right in front of his rival there. Very lucky to keep hold of the final podium place. As it stands with the positions as they are, Sebastian Buemi will still remain in the lead in the Drivers' Championship. Scott Dixon, by finishing as the race winner, pole sitter, and getting the point for the fastest lap, will go into second place in the drivers' standings. Ollie Berman, who came in third in Brazil, is on course for a championship point. And now we are seeing Scott Dixon entering the pits for his final stop. We expect him to still rejoin in the lead ahead of Earl Bamber. Look at Bourdais making a move on Jose Maria Lopez, who's had little to celebrate in this one. Spoken enough about him. Bourdais is through into 12th position. Dixon will rejoin well ahead of Earl Bamber. Lap 38, 17 laps to go as Newgarden tries to unlap Scott Dixon, and Dixon's teammate Sebastian Bourdais is pulling out of the race with a puncture. So very quickly after he got by Lopez, Bourdais had picked up a puncture and he's forced to pull to the side, and his race is over. No points for Bourdais today. McLaughlin has come into the pits from 4th place. That allows Buemi to go through. And McLaughlin rejoins in 7th behind Marciello. Although he's had a bit of a dice with Van Gisbergen after he's just come out of the pits. So McLaughlin's got some work to do. He's got enough time to do it, but not a lot of time. There is Dixon. I think he was fighting out with Joseph Newgarden for track position. Newgarden had to let Dixon to go through. At least he's done his team a bit of a favour, but Banner is able to close in a little. And there is McLaughlin behind Van Gisbergen in the fight for 7th place. And that's in P3 for Fomitel. Of course, for their first podium in League One. What a job they did last season. Jean Verne in the cross is only a couple of seconds behind. Or perhaps maybe less than that behind Jose Maria Lopez. Verne is still aiming for another points finish. It's going to take a few drivers dropping out before the end of the race to see that become a reality. And McLaughlin is lining up a pass on Shane Van Gisbergen, and he's doing to 7th place on the new tyres. It's Dixon on his own. 7 seconds clear now over Earl Bamber. Newgarden, who's down a lap of that spin. chance of points for him at this rate. Dixon doing everything right so far, just needs to make no mistakes from here on in. And Shaul Gunon, who has had an absolutely stellar race again this afternoon. And Sebastian Buemi from 4th place in the Prost, the race winner in Brazil, is not going to be finishing today. What a shame for the team. Looking good until Buemi's engine problem, and they are out. And he is out of the race, I should say. It's a terrible shame for the team. And that will allow Shaul Gunon to go up into 4th position now. It just keeps getting better and better for him. Well, Shaul Gunon started from 21st place on the grid, and he's made his way through up into 4th place. What a drive it has been from him. Here's Sims, who goes up into 15th now. Super Buemi's retirement. And that's the 10th driver to retire from this one. Buemi, Bourdais, Grosjean, Rosenqvist, Raghunathan Latifi, Schumacher, Kobayashi, Da Costa and Fittipaldi all out of the race. We've got 14 laps to go still in this. And that's an engine problem for Felipe Nasser. Bad news for team manager Ewan Gale of the Fonmetal squad. Nasser from 3rd place is going to lose that. And it's great news for Ryan Ferris and for the Onyx squad. Shaul Gunon is going to go up into 3rd position, but it's rotten luck for the Fonmetal team. The lead 2 drivers and teams champions of last season are going to see a podium finish disappear right in front of their eyes. Gutting for Ewan Gale. That's 2 from the top 4 out of the race in the space of a lap or so. Gunon up to 3rd place, but he's got Marciello closing him down all the time. McLaughlin goes up to 5th, Berman 6th, Van Gisbergen 7th, Lawson 8th. Ericsson goes up to 9th, so at least that's a couple of points potentially going in the way of Ewan Gale. And in 10th place is Jose Maria Lopez from 26th on the grid. To go up into 10th place, and chasing him down is Jean-Luc Verne, who's angling for a point for Prost to take away from this. Earl Bamber in 2nd place behind Dixon. The gap is now 12 seconds. He's going to have to hope for mechanical trouble to strike that Minardi. We've seen it time and time again from this team. Last season with Nick de Vries and Antonio Felix da Costa. We saw it from Scott Dixon last time out in Brazil. Reliability has been the team's Achilles heel. And now we're looking at Jean-Luc Verne go for it on Jose Maria Lopez into turn 1, and he's through and up into the points. Verne goes through, and at least that's a point coming in the way of the French team. Next driver for Verne to overtake is Marcus Ericsson. I think he's another 9 or 10 seconds up the road, so I'm not sure if he's going to have enough time to catch him, but he'll give it a good go. And Dixon is coming up to lap Brendan Hartley for the first time. Well, I'll say for the first time. He lapped him earlier on before the pit stops had all taken place, and Hartley lets Dixon go. There is Gunon ahead of Marcello in the fight for the final podium position. Marcello trying to tuck into the slipstream of the Onyx ahead. He's not close enough that time around. And there's Van Gisbergen ahead of Lawson in the fight for 7th place. too far off Behrman ahead. Just behind these two is Marcus Ericsson. What are the final 12 laps going to deliver? We've seen so much already, and I highly doubt we've seen the last of it. There's Marcello trying to go for it again on Gounon into the Ascari King. There's no way through for him to get the overtake done. Gounon remains in P3. Scott McLaughlin in 5th place. His teammate Alexander Sims in 14th. It could even come down to whoever finishes scores points here today. It really could come down to it. There's Earl Bamber in P2 behind Scott Dixon. The gap continues to increase. Bamber will take a 2nd place at this point, considering all the drama we have had. Bumber has got over half a minute in hand over Charles Gounon, so if he was to come into the pits with a problem, he'll still come back out in 2nd place. On Scott Dixon. Team manager Giacomo Pagliaro of the Minardi squad. Just praying he did get to the checkered flag. Balde already out with Mechanical Gremlins not too long ago. Incredible performance from Dixon. Of course, for his 8th Grand Prix World Series victory. And the first for Minardi. Marcello still all over the back of Gounon for 3rd position. And we see Dixon running wide a little bit, getting away with it. This is car on the track. No damage done to his machine. Onto the curbs. As Gounon has been chased by Marcello still. Ryan Ferris' team only picked up 1 podium last season, and that was in Brands Hatch, of which Sebastian Bourdais had picked up. Gounon got the single point in Brazil. His teammate Liam Lawson finished well out of the points, but today they're both on course to score a great level of points. Bamber locking up into Parker, getting away with it, having a replay of it, see what had gone on for him. He just carried too much speed and braked too late. He's able to continue. And McLaughlin's out in the HRT. Engine fire. It's a terrible show for John Munro. They really needed some points today after the pace they have shown. With Sims out of the points, it's unlikely they're going to be coming away with anything now. McLaughlin becomes the 11th driver to retire from the race. Van Gisbergen goes through into 6th. It's Lawson, Ericsson, Verne up to 9th, and Lopez in the points again for Manor. Brendan Hartley into P11 now in the Pacific after his woeful beginning. Newgarden is 12th, Sims 13th. Rowland will go up into 14th place. I think he may actually be the final runner is Oliver Rowland. So it's 12 retirements we've had in this race now. There's Ollie Berman in 5th place. So a 3rd and a 5th it will be for him to kickstart his time with Syntax. A very nice start to his season. That's a total of 25 points. With the results as they are, he'll go up into 3rd place in the Drivers' Championship, or remain 3rd in the Drivers' Championship. And Dixon, with Buemi dropping out, is going to be the championship leader on 29 points. Buemi will remain 2nd, level on points with Behrman, but with a race win, he'll be 2nd ahead of the Brit. I believe, just working out my maths. No, it'll be Earl Bamber in 4th place in the Drivers' Championship. In terms of the team's standings, Prost will remain on top with 39 points because Jean-Luc Verne is in 9th place. He's going to get a couple of points at the moment. Dixon over the line to start another lap. He's got 7 laps remaining in this race. Drivers left in the race. Scott McLaughlin is out. Sebastian Buemi is out. We've also lost Roman Grosjean. We've lost Mick Schumacher as well. Maher Virganathan, Nicholas Latifi, Antonio Vince da Costa, Pietro Fittipaldi. Sebastian Bourdais as well as Newgarden's trying to get through on Brendan Hartley for P11. They're both trying to catch up to Jose Maria Lopez in the closing stages. There's Dixon on his own at the front, nearly 20 seconds clear over Earl Bamber. Now we're looking at Marcus Ericsson up the inside of Shane van Gisbergen, and 6th position goes in the way of the Swede. The next driver ahead of him is Ollie Berman. He's on his own at the moment in 5th place. He's not catching Gounon and Marcello. Still ahead of the Italian in his 2nd Grand Prix World Series race. He's going to make it a podium. 21st on the grid. It might get even better. We look at Dixon. Wishing the checker flag would be out by now, but it's not yet. Dixon, we're looking at Brendan Hartley, who's still holding Joseph Newgarden back. Jean-Luc Verne's over 5 seconds behind Liam Lawson. He's chasing after for another couple of points. There we see Gounon and Marcello again. Felipe Nasser was another major one to retire as well. And there is Liam Lawson in the Onyx. Well, at least he'll be classified as a finisher, but he's not going to be finishing in the points. Verne goes through, Lawson out with only a handful of laps to go. That's a body blow for him. Lopez up to 9th, and Brendan Hartley into the points for Pacific. After being in the back for so long, he's managed to stay in the race. As the Kiwi, but he's got Joseph Newgarden all over the back of him. And Newgarden is determined to get that point now. See Gunon still ahead of Rafael Marcello. You see Newgarden nearly going for it again on Hartley. Alexander Sims will be closing on these two as well. In fact, Newgarden locks up again. Nearly back into the path of Sims, but at least Newgarden's kept going as his teammate Earl Bamber on course for second position in his second race in the GPWS. And there we look at Dixon's trying to put a lap on Jose Maria Lopez. If you remember a couple of seasons back at this circuit, he locked up into Andre Lotterer, which took him out of the race and nearly cost him the championship. And he's through on Lopez to lap, and now we're looking at Marcello, who nearly loses it at Ascari. To stay on the circuit this time around. He's running out of time to make the move here as Marcello. But it's certainly going to please team manager Ed Spencer with the performance he's put in. Marcello started from 17th up the grid to get up to 4th place. If that's not racecraft to you, I don't know what is. There is Dixon. 4 laps away from victory. The next driver is going to be lapping is Jean-Luc Verne. There's Gunon. There is Marcello, 3rd and 4th. Now we look at Verne. In 8th place, he was 4th in the first round in Hikara Pagua. And the gap between him and Shane van Gisbergen is over 8 seconds. I think Verne's going to be second for P8 and 4 championship points. There is Earl Bamber in 2nd position. Leighton House will be happy with this result. Bamber where he is. Dixon is very close to victory here. And there is Dixon. Reliability woes at the moment as we look at Hartley again. Newgarden and Sims back. Pacific really could do with this point. It could come crucial later in the season. Gunon 3rd, Marcello 4th. This is the closest battle, I think, although Hartley, Newgarden and Sims have something to say on that as Behrman locks up into turn number 3. Seen some brilliant back of the grid drives today. Gunon from 21st to 3rd. Marcello from 17th to 4th. Lopez from 26th to 9th. Jean-Luc Verne from 18th to 8th. As Gunon runs wide, that nearly gives Marcello the position. And Ericsson locking up as well. Things are getting a little bit toasty in the closing stages. Just need to bring the cars home. Scott Dixon is on his penultimate lap at the moment. He has yet to win in Argentina. Buenos Aires is the only circuit to have contested a round in every season of the Grand Prix World Series. And we're looking at Marcello down the inside of Jules Gunon. And that's Marcello up into 3rd place for Force India. They are on course for their first podium in League One. Marcello breathing Gunon down for a number of laps. The persistence from the Force India pilot has paid off, and he is through and up to third place. Gunon will be disappointed, but it will still be a great result for the Onyx team. For Ed Spencer, though, Force India are going to be cheering in delight for their first podium in the top flight. Scott Dixon has started the final lap. Earl Bamber will start his final lap as well, on course for a second place finish. Dixon has had a bit to do. He's got so much further than he did in Brazil. It's going to be his 8th Grand Prix World Series victory. The first for Minardi. To get themselves back on track to retain the team's championship, and for Scott Dixon to retain his Grand Prix World Series title. In the second round of the championship, we've seen a lot of drama today. No such drama for Scott Dixon. I don't know whether he's got the Argentine tango in his mind to dance to celebrate his victory here today. But either way, a win is a win. Scott Dixon wins the League One Buenos Aires Grand Prix, his first at this racetrack. From pole position to flag. What a race. And a brilliant one for team manager Giacomo Pagliaro. Just seen Brendan Hartley hold off Newgarden and Sims for the last point in 10th place. So close for Newgarden, but no points for him, unfortunately. His teammate Earl Bamber bagging his first podium in the Grand Prix World Series in 2nd position. And over half a minute behind the Leighton House driver will be Rafael Marciello. And for Force India, Oliver Illin finishing in 13th and last position. No points for Arrows today. Rafael Marciello is going to celebrate his 2nd Grand Prix World Series podium, and it's the first in League One for him. In 3rd place for Force India. They are going to be very happy with this. Saul Gunon in 4th. Very unfortunate to miss out on the podium, but it's still a very, very incredible performance by him. Ollie Byrne will be 5th for Simtech. And then we can look at Marcus Ericsson in 6th for Von Metal. And it'll be Shane van Gisbergen in 7th place. Jean-Luc Verne will be the last driver on the lead lap in 8th. Prost stay in the lead of the team's championship. The victory belongs to a familiar man. That is Scott Dixon, his first for Minardi, and doing so here in Buenos Aires. Earl Bamber finishing 2nd for Leighton House ahead of Rafael Marciello. Jules Gounon from towards the back of the grid in 4th place ahead of Ollie Behrman. Marcus Ericsson bagging Von Mettel's first points in League One in 6th. Shane van Gisbergen in the points again in 7th. Jean-Luc Verne 8th. Jose Maria Lopez in 9th. And the last point going to Brendan Hartley ahead of Joseph Newgarden. Alexander Sims in 12th. Oliver Ellen in 13th. Liam Lawson classified in 14th for Onyx. Scott McLaughlin, Felipe Nasser, Sebastian Buemi, Sebastian Bourdais, Felix Rosenqvist, Matthew Rigonathan, who crashed out after being towards the top end of the field. Nicholas Latifi, his teammate, also retiring with gearbox trouble. Mick Schumacher, Kamui Kobayashi, Antonio Felix da Costa, and Pietro Fittipaldi, with the rest of those to not finish. Roman Grosjean also retired and disqualified and banned for the next race in Indianapolis after taking out Felix Rosenqvist during that race. The pole position and fast lap points go to Scott Dixon. He now leads the Drivers' Championship after the second race, with Sebastian Buemi retiring. It's very much game on in the championship, although with the pace we've seen from Scott Dixon today, proves why he is favourite to be taking a hat-trick of Grand Prix World Series titles. After all that, it's time to run down on the championship standings in League One. Congratulations to Scott Dixon on taking victory in League One. And I'll speak to you for the next round in Indianapolis Motor Speedway. It should be a very, very exciting one.
A dominant display there for Scott Dixon as he picks up his and Minardi's first victory of the season. Huge congratulations to Giacomo Pagliaro for getting his season well and truly running now with Dixon's victory today. Earl Bamber as well pick up his first ever Grand Prix World Series podium, a much needed result for the Leighton House team there. And Raffaele Marcello just denying Onyx Grand Prix its first podium in quite a long time in the dying laps there. But Raffaele Marcello pick up another podium for himself there, a good result for him. And Jules Gounon, well done to him, one of my drivers of the day, going from the back of the grid to 4th place. Well done to Ryan Ferris there. But how has this race affected the driver standings after round 2? Scott Dixon, with the victory, pole and the fastest lap, has gone straight to the top on 29 points, 4 ahead of Sebastian Buemi, who retired out of today's race. Oliver Bearman still 3rd in the championship on 25 ahead of Felix Rosenqvist on 18. Earl Bamber shoots up to 5th in the standings with his 2nd place today, 18 points for the New Zealander. Jean-Eric Verne 6th in the pros ahead of Raffaele Marcello, Jules Gounon, Oliver Rowland and Brendan Hartley, the Pacific driver, rounding out the top 10. In the team standings, Prost still holds on at the top on 41 points, and Minardi have gone up to 2nd on 35. Arrows are on 28, having not scored any points today. Simtek 4th on 25. Force India are on 19. Leighton House on 18. Onyx on 13. Manor on 10. Pacific on 9. And Fomital rounding out the top 10 with 8 points. HRT, BAR and Mastercar Lola still yet to score so far this season. Well, this has been another fantastic day of action in the Grand Prix World Series. Buenos Aires always kicking up a lot of excitement when we come to race here, and today has been no exception to that. Next time out, we will be racing for the first time at Indianapolis for the American round of the Grand Prix World Series. I know a lot of the team managers are excited to get onto the Motor Speedway for that one. We can't wait to bring you the action, but until then, thank you all for tuning in. I've been Topher Smith, and take care.